Once upon a time, in a lush, green valley bordered by towering mountains, lay a village named Eldoria. Eldoria was known for its beautiful gardens and friendly inhabitants, but most of all, it was renowned for the legendary silver tree that stood in the heart of the village. The silver tree was said to be enchanted, its leaves shimmering like silver in the sunlight and its branches humming a soothing, magical song at dusk. The villagers believed that the silver tree had been planted by the ancient forest spirits and that its song brought peace and prosperity to Eldoria. Each year, during the Moon Festival, the villagers gathered around the tree to listen to its melodious tune and celebrate their good fortune. One day, as the Moon Festival approached, a dark cloud seemed to settle over the village. The silver tree's song had grown faint, and its once sparkling leaves had lost their luster. The villagers were deeply troubled, for they knew that if the tree's song faded completely, their prosperity and happiness would be at risk. Among the villagers was a young girl named Elara. She was known for her adventurous spirit and her love for the village's traditions. Determined to save the silver tree, Elara decided to embark on a quest to discover the source of the problem. Elara approached the village elder, a wise woman named Grandmother Leora. "Grandmother Leora, what can I do to restore the silver tree's song?" Elara asked. Grandmother Leora sighed. "The silver tree's song is tied to an ancient enchantment. It is said that the heart of the tree, a magical crystal known as the Moonstone, has been taken. To restore its song, you must journey to the Shadow Peaks and retrieve the Moonstone." With a resolute heart, Elara set off on her quest. The Shadow Peaks were a range of mountains known for their rugged terrain and mysterious legends. Armed with a map, a sturdy staff, and a small bag of provisions, Elara began her climb. As she ascended the mountains, she faced several challenges. The first was a deep chasm with no visible bridge. As she pondered her way across, she noticed a series of stepping stones made of shimmering stone appearing and disappearing across the chasm. Summoning her courage, Elara timed her jumps carefully and made her way across safely. Her next challenge was to navigate through the Whispering Caves, a labyrinthine network of tunnels filled with confusing echoes. In the cave, a mischievous voice spoke to her. "To find the right path, you must answer this: what has a heart that doesn't beat?" Elara thought deeply and then answered, "An artichoke." The voice chuckled and the path ahead cleared, leading Elara to a hidden chamber. There, she found a small, silver chest guarded by a gentle dragon with sparkling scales. "You seek the Moonstone," the dragon said with a warm voice. "It is in this chest, but to retrieve it, you must prove your bravery and kindness." The dragon set 3 tasks for Elara. 1. Find a healing herb. Elara ventured into the nearby forest and found a rare herb that could heal a wounded creature. She used it to mend the wing of a small, injured bird. 2. Solve the riddle of the stars. The dragon presented a constellation map with a riddle about the stars. Elara solved it by aligning the stars correctly, revealing the hidden path. 3. Show compassion. Elara encountered a band of lost mountain goats who needed help finding their way home. She guided them safely back to their herd. Having completed the tasks, the dragon opened the chest and handed Elara the Moonstone. It glowed with a soft, silver light, pulsating with the same energy as the silver tree's lost psalm. With the Moonstone in her possession, Elara made her way back to Eldoria. As she approached the village, she saw the silver tree's branches drooping and the leaves dull. She placed the Moonstone at the base of the tree, and a brilliant light erupted, restoring the tree's shimmering leaves and filling the air with its melodious song. The village erupted in joyous celebration as the silver tree's song rang out stronger and more beautiful than ever before. The villagers praised Elara for her bravery and kindness, and the Moon Festival was celebrated with renewed fervor. Elara's adventure became a cherished story in Eldoria, a tale of courage and the power of a pure heart. The silver tree continued to thrive, its song a reminder of the harmony between the village and the magical forest that surrounded it. And so, the village of Eldoria lived in happiness and prosperity, forever enchanted by the song of the silver tree and the brave girl who restored its magic. Once upon a time, in a land far beyond the mountains and across the glistening rivers, there was a magical forest known as the Enchanted Woods. This forest was not like any ordinary forest. It was home to all sorts of mystical creatures, talking animals, fairies with shimmering wings, and trees that whispered secrets to those who would listen. At the heart of this forest, there was a village inhabited by woodland creatures. The leader of the village was a wise old owl named Orin, who had lived for hundreds of years. Orin's knowledge of the forest and its magic was unparalleled, and he was beloved by all the creatures. Among the villagers was a young fox named Felix. Felix was curious and adventurous, always eager to explore new places and discover new things. One sunny morning, Felix woke up with a sense of excitement. He had heard whispers of a hidden treasure deep within the enchanted woods. This treasure, according to the tales, could grant a single wish to whoever found it. Determined to find the treasure and make a wish for endless adventures, Felix set out on his journey. As Felix ventured deeper into the forest, he met a friendly squirrel named Sophie. Sophie was known for her agility and sharp eyes. When she heard about Felix's quest, she eagerly offered to help. "I can climb the tallest trees and see far and wide," she said. "Together, we can find this treasure." The two friends traveled through the forest, encountering various magical creatures along the way. They met Luna, a gentle deer with a golden crown of flowers, who guided them through a maze of thorny bushes. They crossed paths with a mischievous raccoon named Rocco, who loved riddles and challenged them to solve one before revealing the safest route across a roaring river. After days of traveling and overcoming challenges, Felix and Sophie finally arrived at a clearing bathed in golden light. At the center of the clearing stood an ancient oak tree, its branches spreading wide and high, its roots twisting deep into the ground. The tree seemed to hum with a gentle, magical energy. "This must be it," whispered Sophie, her eyes wide with wonder. Felix approached the tree and noticed a small, glowing door at its base. Taking a deep breath, he opened the door and stepped inside. The interior of the tree was like a cavern, filled with sparkling crystals and a soft, ethereal glow. At the center of the cavern was a pedestal, and on it rested a simple, yet beautifully crafted, wooden box. With trembling paws, Felix opened the box. Inside, he found an ornate golden key and a note that read, "The true treasure lies within your heart. Use this key to unlock your greatest potential." Felix was puzzled but took the key and stepped back outside. As he did, Orin the owl appeared, his eyes twinkling with wisdom. "Felix, the treasure you seek is not gold or jewels, but the courage, kindness, and wisdom within you. The key will help you unlock these qualities and lead your village with bravery and compassion." Felix realized that his greatest adventure was not a distant journey, but the journey within himself. He thanked Orin and, with Sophie by his side, returned to the village. Using the key, Felix unlocked his potential, becoming a brave and wise leader, guiding his friends and family with kindness and courage. The enchanted woods thrived under Felix's leadership, and the village flourished. Felix's adventures continued, not in search of treasures, but in making the world around him a better place. And so, the story of Felix, the brave little fox, became a legend in the enchanted woods, inspiring generations to come. And they all lived happily ever after. I hope you enjoyed the story. Once upon a time, in a serene kingdom called Meadowbrook, there was a mystical forest known as the Whispering Woods. This forest was famous for its ancient trees that were said to hold secrets and stories of old. In the heart of the Whispering Woods stood a grand, golden oak tree called the Heartwood Tree, which was said to protect the kingdom's magic. In Meadowbrook lived a young girl named Anya, known for her boundless imagination and kindness. Anya loved exploring the Whispering Woods, where she would often talk to the animals and listen to the stories the trees whispered. Her best friend was a clever, blue jay named Jasper, who could mimic any sound he heard. One day, as Anya and Jasper wandered through the forest, they noticed something troubling. The Heartwood tree's golden leaves had turned a dull gray, and its once vibrant branches were drooping. The magic that sustained the entire kingdom seemed to be fading. Anya felt a pang of worry and decided to investigate. They approached the Heartwood tree, and a soft, sorrowful voice spoke from its branches. "The magic of the forest is in grave danger. The enchanted gem, which keeps the Heartwood tree's magic alive, has been stolen by the Dark Enchantress. She hides it in the Cavern of Shadows. Only the pure of heart can retrieve it and restore the balance. Determined to save the Heartwood tree in the kingdom, Anya and Jasper set off on their quest. They traveled through meadows and over hills, guided by the whispers of the forest and the occasional chirp of Jasper's guidance. Their journey led them to the entrance of the Cavern of Shadows. The cavern was dark and foreboding, filled with strange echoes and flickering shadows. The first challenge they faced was the Trial of Echoes. The cavern walls seemed to create confusing echoes, making it difficult to find the right path. Anya focused on Jasper's clear chirps and followed the sound of his voice, navigating through the maze of shadows. Deep within the cavern, they encountered the second challenge, the Trial of Light and Dark. The cavern was divided into two halves, one bathed in blinding light and the other shrouded in deep darkness. They needed to cross the chasm between these two realms. Anya and Jasper worked together, using the light from Jasper's feathers and Anya's intuition to find a safe path across the chasm. With careful steps, they made it to the other side. Finally, they reached the heart of the cavern, where the Dark Enchantress awaited. She was a formidable figure, draped in dark robes and with eyes that glowed with an eerie light. The Enchantress held the enchanted gem in her hand, its glow casting strange shadows around her. "You dare to challenge me," the Dark Enchantress said with a cold, menacing tone. "This gem is mine now, and I will not give it up easily." Anya stood her ground and spoke with calm determination. "The enchanted gem belongs to the Heartwood tree and the kingdom it protects. If you have taken it, then you must understand the harm you are causing. Please, return it so that balance can be restored." The Dark Enchantress, taken aback by Anya's bravery and sincerity, felt a pang of doubt. She was used to causing fear and chaos, but had never encountered such genuine compassion. After a moment of hesitation, she slowly handed over the enchanted gem. As Anya took the gem, its light began to shine brightly, dispelling the darkness that surrounded them. The cavern's walls glowed with a warm, golden light, and the Dark Enchantress, realizing the harm she had done, vanished into the shadows with a sense of regret. With the enchanted gem in hand, Anya and Jasper returned to the Heartwood tree. As they placed the gem back into its rightful place, the tree's golden leaves sparkled once more, and its branches stood tall and strong. The magic of the forest was restored, and the kingdom of Meadowbrook flourished again. The villagers celebrated Anya and Jasper's bravery with a grand festival. The Heartwood tree glowed brightly, casting a golden light over the entire kingdom. Anya and Jasper's adventure became a cherished story in Meadowbrook, a reminder of the power of courage, kindness, and the magic that lives within every heart. And so, the Whispering Woods in Meadowbrook remained a place of wonder and enchantment, forever touched by the heroism of a brave girl and her loyal Blue Jay friend. The end. Once upon a time, in a lush, green valley surrounded by towering mountains, there was a magical forest known as Everwood. In the heart of Everwood stood a majestic willow tree, known to all as the Whispering Willow. This tree was said to have the power to grant a single wish once every 100 years, but only to those who could uncover its hidden melody. In a small village at the edge of the forest lived a young boy named Finn. Finn was known for his curiosity and adventurous spirit. He often ventured into Everwood, exploring its secrets and marveling at its beauty. Despite the village's warnings about the forest's mysteries, Finn was drawn to its enchantments. One day, while wandering near the Whispering Willow, Finn noticed that the tree seemed to shimmer with a soft, golden light. The leaves rustled gently, and a faint, haunting melody drifted through the air. Intrigued, Finn approached the tree and heard the melody more clearly. It was a beautiful, yet elusive tune that seemed to be both familiar and strange. Determined to uncover the secret of the melody, Finn decided to visit the village's wise elder, Grandma Eliza. She was known for her knowledge of the forest's legends and magic. "Grandma Eliza," Finn said, "I heard a beautiful melody coming from the Whispering Willow. Do you know what it means?" Grandma Eliza smiled warmly. "Ah, the Whispering Willow's melody is a long-forgotten song. It is said that the tree's magic can only be unlocked by someone who understands its tune and has a pure heart. The melody holds the key to the tree's power. Finn's eyes sparkled with determination. How can I learn the melody and unlock the tree's magic? Grandma Eliza handed Finn an old, leather-bound book. This book contains ancient songs and stories about Everwood. Perhaps within its pages, you will find a clue to the melody you seek. With the book in hand, Finn returned to the Whispering Willow. He spent days studying the ancient songs, listening to the tree's melody, and trying to match the notes. The melody was delicate and elusive, but Finn was patient and persistent. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the forest was bathed in twilight, Finn heard the melody more clearly than ever. He realized that the notes of the melody matched a series of musical symbols in the book. With newfound insight, Finn began to hum the tune, matching it with the symbols. To his amazement, the Whispering Willow's leaves began to glow more brightly, and the melody grew stronger. The tree's branches swayed rhythmically, as if dancing to the tune. Finn continued to hum, his heart full of hope and concentration. As Finn reached the final note of the melody, a soft, shimmering light enveloped the tree. The Whispering Willow's branches parted, revealing a hidden door at the base of the trunk. Inside the hidden chamber was a beautiful, ancient chest adorned with intricate carvings. Finn carefully opened the chest, and inside he found a delicate silver locket with a single, glowing gem. The locket seemed to pulse with a gentle light, and a soft, melodic hum emanated from it. The Whispering Willow's voice echoed through the forest, filled with gratitude. Young Finn, you have uncovered the hidden melody and unlocked the magic of the tree. This locket holds the power to grant one wish. Use it wisely, for it carries the heart of Everwood. Finn held the locket close and thought deeply about his wish. He remembered the villagers and their struggles with the harsh weather that had recently plagued their lands. He wished for the prosperity and well-being of his village and the restoration of their fertile lands. As Finn made his wish, the locket's gem glowed brightly and released a wave of shimmering light that spread across the valley. The light touched the village and the surrounding lands, bringing with it the blessing of rain, fertile soil, and renewed hope. When Finn returned to the village, he was greeted with cheers and amazement. The fields were lush and green, and the villagers' homes were filled with joy and abundance. The village flourished once more, thanks to Finn's selfless wish. Finn kept the locket as a reminder of his adventure and the power of the Whispering Willow. He continued to explore Everwood, cherishing the magic and wonder of the forest. The Whispering Willow remained a symbol of hope and enchantment, waiting for the next kind-hearted soul to uncover its secrets. And so, under the canopy of Everwood, Finn and his village lived happily ever after, their lives enriched by the magic of the Whispering Willow and the melody that had brought them prosperity and joy. The end. The Starflower Grove. Once upon a time, in a land where the sky kissed the earth and the forests were filled with enchantment, there lay a hidden village called Moonshadow. Moonshadow was renowned for its magical Starflower Grove, a mystical forest where glowing flowers bloomed only under the light of the full moon. The grove was said to hold secrets and wonders, known only to those with a brave and pure heart. In Moonshadow lived a spirited girl named Ayla. Ayla was known for her adventurous spirit and her deep love for nature. She spent her days exploring the village and the surrounding woods, always eager to uncover new wonders. Despite the beauty of Moonshadow, Ayla felt a strong desire to discover the true magic of the Starflower Grove and what lay hidden within its heart. A mysterious message one evening, as the full moon began to rise, casting a silvery light over Moonshadow, Ayla found an old, weathered scroll at the edge of the grove. The scroll was adorned with celestial symbols and had a message written in flowing script: to unveil the true magic of the grove, you must find the heart of the forest, where moonlight and courage unite. Excited and determined, Ayla set off into the grove, guided by the moon's gentle glow. The grove was a mesmerizing place, with the starflowers illuminating the path with their ethereal light. The flowers seemed to hum softly, creating a melody that resonated with Ayla's heart. The Whispering Willow. As she ventured deeper into the grove, Ayla came across an ancient willow tree with branches that seemed to whisper secrets. The tree's bark was covered in shimmering runes that glowed faintly in the moonlight. A soft voice emanated from the tree. "Greetings, brave one. To find the heart of the forest, you must answer my riddle. I am not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I?" Ayla thought carefully and then answered, "A fire." The whispering willow's branches swayed in approval, and a hidden path revealed itself behind the tree. The path was lined with glowing stones that guided Ayla further into the grove. The enchanted clearing following the path, Ayla arrived at a clearing bathed in a soft, magical light. At the center of the clearing stood a majestic, crystal-clear pond surrounded by luminous starflowers. In the middle of the pond was a small island with a single, glowing tree, the heart of the forest. Ayla noticed a small wooden boat anchored at the edge of the pond. With a mix of excitement and nervousness, she climbed into the boat and gently rowed across the pond. As she approached the island, the tree's light grew brighter, and a sense of wonder filled the air. The heart of the forest. As Ayla reached the island, she saw that the heart of the forest was not just a tree but a living embodiment of the grove's magic. The tree's branches were adorned with shimmering crystals, and its leaves sparkled with the light of countless stars. At the base of the tree was a beautiful, radiant gem. Ayla reached out to touch the gem, and the moment her fingers brushed against it, the entire grove seemed to come alive. The starflowers glowed even more brightly, and the pond's water sparkled like diamonds. A gentle voice spoke from the heart of the forest. "You have shown great courage and kindness, Ayla. The true magic of the grove lies not only in its beauty but in the hearts of those who seek to protect and cherish it. For your bravery, the grove's magic will forever be a part of you." The return to Moonshadow. With the heart of the forest's blessing, Ayla returned to Moonshadow, her heart filled with a newfound sense of wonder. The village was enchanted by the grove's magic, and the starflowers continued to bloom with a brilliance that had never been seen before. The story of Ayla's adventure became a beloved tale in Moonshadow, reminding everyone of the magic that exists when we follow our hearts and embrace the beauty around us. The Starflower Grove remained a place of wonder and joy, forever blessed by the courage and purity of one extraordinary young girl. And so, Moonshadow thrived, with Ayla's story inspiring generations to come, under the watchful gaze of the moon and the eternal glow of the starflowers. Once upon a time, in the vibrant kingdom of Etheria, there was a legendary compass said to possess magical powers. This compass was rumored to guide its bearer to their deepest desires, but it had been lost for centuries. The tale of the compass was a favorite among the villagers, who would often tell stories of its wonders around the hearth. In a small village nestled at the edge of a great forest, lived a young girl named Ayla. Ayla was known for her boundless curiosity and adventurous spirit. Her father, a humble craftsman, had told her stories of the enchanted compass when she was a child, and she grew up dreaming of finding it. One day, while exploring the attic of her family's cottage, Ayla stumbled upon an old, dusty chest. Inside, she found a faded map and an ancient journal belonging to her great-grandfather, who was an explorer. The map depicted a route through the forbidden forest, which led to a place marked with a golden star. The journal mentioned a compass that could be found there. Excited by her discovery, Ayla decided to embark on a journey to find the enchanted compass. She packed a small bag with essentials, including some food, a lantern, and a sturdy rope, and set off early the next morning. The Forbidden Forest was known for its magical creatures and mysterious happenings. As Ayla ventured deeper into the forest, she encountered a mischievous fox named Finn. Finn had sparkling green eyes and a playful grin. "Hello there," Finn called out. "What brings you to the heart of the Forbidden Forest?" Ayla explained her quest to find the enchanted compass. Finn, intrigued by her determination, offered to help her, but with one condition: she must first solve a riddle. "Here's the riddle," Finn said, "to guide you on your way. I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I?" Ayla thought carefully and answered, "A joke." Finn clapped his paws in delight and led Ayla to a hidden path, covered in soft, glowing moss. The path wound through the forest and eventually opened up to a clearing with a shimmering pond. Beside the pond, There was an old willow tree with long, graceful branches that seemed to sway even though there was no wind. Perched on a branch was a wise old owl named Orla. To find the enchanted compass, Orla hooted, "You must prove your bravery in heart. Answer this question. What is something that you can hold in your hand, but is not tangible, and can be given away yet still remain with you?" Ayla pondered the question and replied, "A promise." Orla nodded approvingly and told Ayla that the path to the compass lay across the pond. The only way to cross was to use the lily pads floating on the water, which were enchanted to reveal themselves only to those who had proven their worth. With a deep breath, Ayla stepped onto the lily pads, which glowed softly under her feet, guiding her safely to the other side of the pond. There, she found a small, ornate chest hidden beneath the roots of a giant tree. The chest was adorned with intricate carvings of stars and moons. As Ayla opened the chest, she found the enchanted compass nestled inside. #The Quest of the Silver Phoenix. Once upon a time, in a land where the sky kissed the mountains and rivers sang to the stars, there was a small kingdom called Eloria. In this kingdom lived a young girl named Leora, who was known for her golden hair and her courage. Leora lived with her grandmother, an old healer who often spoke of the magical creatures that once roamed their lands. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Leora's grandmother told her a tale of the Silver Phoenix. The Silver Phoenix, she said, was a magnificent bird that could heal any wound, grant eternal youth, and bring prosperity. It had vanished many years ago, leaving the land vulnerable to hardships. "Why did it leave, Grandma?" Leora asked, her eyes wide with wonder. "The phoenix left because the people lost their gratitude and kindness," her grandmother replied. "But it is said that the bird will return if a pure-hearted soul proves worthy." Inspired by the story, Leora decided she would find the Silver Phoenix and bring it back to Eloria. She packed a small bag with some bread, a flask of water, and her grandmother's herbal remedies. At dawn, she set off on her journey, with the blessings of her grandmother and the hopes of the villagers. Leora traveled through dense forests, over towering mountains, and across vast deserts. One day, she came upon a shimmering lake, where she met an old fisherman named Kale. He was struggling to catch fish, his nets tangled and torn. "May I help you?" Leora offered. Kale smiled gratefully. "Thank you, child. Many pass by but few offer aid." Leora spent the day mending Kale's nets and helping him fish. In return, Kale gave her a silver scale, saying, "This belonged to the Silver Phoenix. Follow the path of kindness and it will guide you." With renewed determination, Leora continued her journey. She soon entered a dark, enchanted forest where the trees whispered secrets and shadows danced. In the heart of the forest, she found a wounded fox trapped in a hunter's snare. Leora gently freed the fox and treated its wounds with her grandmother's herbs. The fox, grateful and healed, transformed into a beautiful sprite named Erin. "Thank you, brave girl," Erin said. "I was cursed by an envious sorcerer. Your kindness has broken the spell. I shall help you find the Silver Phoenix." Guided by Erin, Leora ventured deeper into the forest until they reached the foot of a towering mountain. At the peak, they found a cave guarded by a fierce dragon named Draken. The dragon's scales glittered like precious gems, and its eyes burned with a fiery intensity. "Who dares approach my lair?" Draken roared. "I am Leora, and I seek the Silver Phoenix to bring hope and healing to my land," she answered boldly. Draken eyed her with curiosity. "Many have come seeking the phoenix, but none have been worthy. Prove your worth, and I shall let you pass." With Erin by her side, Leora recounted her journey, her acts of kindness, and her unwavering determination. Draken listened intently, his fierce demeanor softening. "You have shown great courage and compassion," he said finally. "You may enter." Inside the cave, Leora found the Silver Phoenix perched upon a crystal pedestal, its feathers shimmering like moonlight. The majestic bird gazed at her with ancient, wise eyes. "You have proven yourself, Leora," the phoenix spoke, its voice like a melodious song. "Your heart is pure, and your intentions noble. I will return with you to Eloria." With the phoenix soaring above, Leora and Aaron made their way back to the kingdom. The villagers marveled at the sight of the mythical bird, and Leora's grandmother wept with joy. The silver phoenix's presence brought prosperity and health back to Eloria. Crops flourished, the sick were healed, and the land thrived. Leora was celebrated as a hero, but she remained humble, knowing that it was kindness and courage that had led her to the phoenix. And so, Eloria became a land of gratitude and compassion once more, with the silver phoenix as its guardian. Leora's tale was told for generations, inspiring all to lead lives of kindness and bravery. And they lived happily ever after. The end. The Princess and the Stonecutter. Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled between towering mountains and flowing rivers, there was a kind and just king who ruled with wisdom and grace. The king had a beautiful daughter named Princess Isla, who was loved by all for her gentle heart and adventurous spirit. Despite her royal duties, Isla often slipped away from the castle to explore the forests, mountains, and villages of the kingdom. She loved nothing more than to learn about the lives of her people and to help them in any way she could. One day, while exploring a remote village at the foot of the mountains, Princess Isla came across a young stonecutter named Rowan. He was strong and skilled, known throughout the village for his ability to shape even the hardest stone into works of art. But despite his talent, Rowan was humble and lived a simple life, working from dawn until dusk to support his family. As Isla watched Rowan work, she noticed something peculiar. Every time Rowan struck his chisel against the stone, a small spark of light would flash, as if the stone itself were alive. Intrigued, Isla approached Rowan and asked him about his craft. Rowan looked up from his work and smiled. "These stones are special, Princess," he said. "They come from the heart of the mountain, where it is said that ancient magic still lingers. When I carve them, I can sometimes feel that magic flowing through my hands." Isla was fascinated. She had heard stories of the ancient magic in the mountains, but she had never seen it for herself. "What do you do with the stones once you've shaped them?" she asked. "I make many things," Rowan replied. "Statues, pillars, and sometimes even jewelry. But the most important thing I carve is the heartstone." "The heartstone?" Isla echoed, curious. "What is that?" Rowan stood up and wiped the sweat from his brow. "The heartstone is a tradition in our village. Every year, I carve a special stone in the shape of a heart and place it at the center of the village square. It is believed that as long as the heartstone remains whole, our village will be protected from harm." Isla was moved by the story. "May I see the heartstone?" she asked. Rowan nodded and led Isla to the village square. In the center of the square stood a large stone heart, polished to a gleaming finish. It radiated a soft, warm light, and Isla could feel the magic within it. The villagers had decorated the square with flowers and ribbons, and children played around the heartstone, laughing and singing. "It's beautiful," Isla said, her voice filled with awe. "You've done a wonderful thing for your village, Rowan." Rowan smiled modestly. "It's not just my work, Princess. The heartstone is a symbol of our unity and strength. As long as we stand together, the stone will remain strong." Isla spent the rest of the day in the village, getting to know the people and learning more about their traditions. She was so impressed by the stonecutter's skill and the villagers' sense of community that she decided to return to the castle and tell her father about what she had seen. That evening, as Isla dined with her father, she told him all about Rowan and the heartstone. The king listened intently, and when Isla had finished, he nodded thoughtfully. "It is clear that the young stonecutter has great talent," the king said. "But more importantly, he understands the value of unity and hard work. I would like to meet him." The next day, the king and Princess Isla traveled to the village to meet Rowan. The king was impressed by Rowan's humility and skill, and after hearing about the heartstone, he made a decision. "Rowan," the king said, "would like to commission you to create a heartstone for the entire kingdom. It will be placed in the grand square of the capital, where it will symbolize the unity and strength of all our people." Rowan was honored by the request but also overwhelmed. "Your Majesty, it would be a great honor, but the magic in the stones from our village is special. I'm not sure if it will work in the capital." The king smiled kindly. "I believe the magic lies not just in the stone, but in the hands and heart of the one who shapes it. You have the talent, and with your skill, I have no doubt that you can create a heartstone worthy of the entire kingdom." Encouraged by the king's words, Rowan agreed to take on the task. He worked tirelessly for weeks, selecting the finest stones from the mountains and carefully carving them into the shape of a heart. As he worked, he could feel the magic flowing through his hands, just as it had before, but this time it was even stronger. It was as if the hopes and dreams of the entire kingdom were being infused into the stone. When the heartstone was finally complete, it was even more magnificent than the one in the village. It shone with a bright, pure light, and when Rowan touched it, he felt a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. The king and Princess Isla were overjoyed and they saw the finished heartstone. It was placed in the grand square of the capital, where people from all corners of the kingdom came to see it. The heartstone became a symbol of the kingdom's unity, and it was said that as long as it remained whole, the kingdom would be safe from any harm. Rowan was hailed as a hero, but he remained humble, always reminding people that the true magic came from their unity and strength. Princess Isla and Rowan became close friends, and she often visited him in his village to see how he was doing and to learn more about his craft. As the years passed, the kingdom prospered, and the heartstone remained a shining symbol of peace and unity. And though the people celebrated Rowan for his great work, he always insisted that it was the love and support of his fellow villagers, and the encouragement of a kind princess, that had made the magic possible. And so, the kingdom lived on in peace and harmony, protected by the magic of the heartstone and the unity of its people. And they all lived happily ever after. I hope you enjoyed this fairy tale. Once upon a time, in a serene village by the edge of a vast forest, there lived a young girl named Lyra. Lyra had a gift. She could sing in a way that made flowers bloom and the sky light up with colors. Her melodies were cherished by the villagers, who often gathered to listen to her songs. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the land, Lyra received a mysterious letter. It was written in silver ink on parchment that shimmered like moonlight. The letter spoke of a magical lake hidden deep in the forest, known as the Moonlit Lake. It was said that the lake held a melody so enchanting that it could bring peace to any troubled heart. Intrigued, Lyra decided to find the lake and discover the melody for herself. She set off with a small satchel of provisions and a lantern to guide her through the darkening forest. The path was not easy. The forest was thick with tangled vines and twisting roots. As Lyra ventured deeper, she encountered a mischievous fox named Felix, who was playing with a glowing orb. "Hello, little fox," Lyra greeted. "Do you know the way to the Moonlit Lake?" Felix tilted his head and grinned. "I might, but it's not so simple. The forest is enchanted, and only those who show kindness will find the way." Lyra nodded, understanding the challenge. "I will help you with your orb if you guide me to the lake." Felix agreed, and together they set off. Along the way, they came across a clearing where a family of birds had built a nest, but the wind had blown it down. Lyra gently helped the birds rebuild their home, and in return, Felix led her to a hidden path. As they continued, they encountered a gnarled old tree with a face etched into its bark. The tree, named Elderwood, spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. "To pass, you must answer my riddle. I am taken from a mine, and shut up in a wooden case, from which I am never released, and yet I am used by almost every person. What am I?" Lyra thought for a moment and then answered, "A pencil." Elderwood's eyes twinkled with approval, and he allowed them to pass. The path grew narrower and more winding, but Felix's glowing orb lit the way. Finally, they reached a moonlit glade where the moonlit lake shimmered like liquid silver. The lake was surrounded by luminescent flowers and glowing fireflies. At its center was a small island with an ancient, ornate harp resting on a pedestal. The air was filled with a soft, soothing hum. Lyra approached the harp and began to play. As her fingers danced across the strings, the melody that emerged was the most beautiful thing she had ever heard. It was as if the music was woven from the very essence of the moonlight and the stars. As Lyra played, the moonlit lake began to glow brighter, and a gentle mist rose from its surface. The mist formed into a delicate, ethereal figure, a spirit of the lake who spoke with a voice like a gentle breeze. "Thank you, Lyra," the spirit said. "You have awakened the true magic of the lake with your pure heart and beautiful music. The melody of the moonlit lake is meant to heal and bring peace. You are now its guardian." Lyra felt a deep sense of peace and purpose. She played the harp one last time, and the melody spread throughout the forest, touching every corner with its calming influence. The forest itself seemed to sigh with relief as the enchantment brought harmony to the land. Felix and Elderwood congratulated her, and the spirit of the lake bestowed upon Lyra a silver locket, shaped like a crescent moon. "This locket will remind you of the magic you have unlocked and the peace you have spread." With the locket around her neck and Felix by her side, Lyra made her way back to the village. The forest seemed brighter and more alive, and the villagers were enchanted by the calming magic that now permeated their home. Lyra continued to share her gift of music, and the melody of the moonlit lake became a cherished part of her songs. The village thrived in peace and harmony, and the magic of the lake lived on through Lyra's melodies. And they lived happily ever after. The end. Once upon a time, in a picturesque valley surrounded by towering mountains and verdant meadows, lay a serene village named Rivermist. The village was known for its gentle river that flowed through it and a mystical lake nearby, known as the Whispering Lake. The lake was said to have magical properties, whispering secrets and granting wishes to those who truly believed in its enchantment. The villagers held the Whispering Lake in high regard, but few had ventured close to it due to the legends of an elusive guardian that protected its magic. The guardian was said to be a graceful water nymph named Seraphina, who only revealed herself to those with a heart full of courage and purity. In Rivermist lived a young girl named Eloan, known for her adventurous spirit and kind heart. She had always been fascinated by the stories of the Whispering Lake and longed to discover its secrets. One day, while tending her garden, Eloan overheard a conversation about a terrible drought affecting a neighboring village. The villagers there were suffering, and Eloan felt a strong desire to help. Determined to find a way to bring relief, Eloan decided to seek out the Whispering Lake and its guardian, hoping that the lake's magic could offer a solution. She packed a small satchel with provisions and set off on her journey, following a winding path that led to the lake. As Eloan approached the Whispering Lake, she noticed its surface was unusually calm, reflecting the sky like a giant, shimmering mirror. The air was filled with the soft, melodious whispers of the lake, which seemed to guide her steps. Suddenly, a gentle mist rose from the lake, and from within it emerged Seraphina, the water nymph. Seraphina had flowing hair that sparkled like water under moonlight and eyes that glowed with a deep, emerald green. "Welcome, Eloan," Seraphina said in a voice as soft as the breeze. "What brings you to the Whispering Lake?" Eloan took a deep breath and replied, "I have come to seek the lake's magic to help a neighboring village suffering from a severe drought. I wish to bring them relief and restore their lands." Seraphina's eyes softened with empathy. "Your heart is pure, Eloan, but to gain the lake's blessing, you must first prove your worthiness by completing 3 tasks. Each task will test your courage, compassion, and wisdom." Eloan nodded, ready to face the challenges. Seraphina pointed towards a distant island in the center of the lake, where the first task awaited. The island was home to a giant, tangled thicket of thorny vines. At the heart of the thicket lay a trapped swan, its wings caught in the thorns. Eloan carefully navigated the thorns, freeing the swan with gentle hands. The swan, grateful and now free, revealed itself to be an enchanted prince. "You have shown great compassion," the prince said. "For your kindness, I shall grant you a feather of courage. Use it wisely." Eloan took the feather and continued to the next task, which was a series of floating platforms across the lake. The platforms were unstable, and a heavy storm had begun to brew, making the crossing treacherous. Eloan used the feather of courage to steady herself and carefully navigate the stormy waters, reaching the other side safely. There, a wise old turtle named Tortius awaited her. Tortius presented the final task. "To complete this challenge, you must solve a riddle. The answer will reveal the path to the lake's magic. Here is your riddle. I have cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and rivers but no water. What am I? Eloan thought for a moment and answered, a map. Tortius nodded and pointed to a hidden grove behind him. In the center of the grove stood a magical spring, its waters glowing with an ethereal light. You have proven your worth, Tortius said. Drink from this spring, and you shall receive the lake's blessing. Eloan drank from the spring, and as she did, she felt a powerful, soothing energy flow through her. She returned to Seraphina, who smiled with approval. The magic of the Whispering Lake is now yours to carry, Seraphina said. Go forth and use it to bring relief to those in need. With the lake's blessing, Eloan journeyed back to the neighboring village, where she used the magic to create rain and rejuvenate the land. The drought was soon over, and the village flourished once more. The villagers celebrated Eloan's bravery and selflessness, and Rivermist and the neighboring village formed a lasting bond. And so, Eloan's tale of courage and compassion was passed down through generations, reminding all who heard it of the power of kindness and the magic that lies in a pure heart. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled at the edge of a mystical forest, there was a tale about an enchanted lantern. This lantern, made of delicate silver and adorned with glowing gems, was said to have the power to grant one wish to anyone who found it. However, it could only be found by someone with a pure heart. In this village lived a kind-hearted boy named Finn. He was known for his generosity and bravery. One evening, as the sun set behind the forest, casting a golden hue over the land, Finn heard a whispering breeze that spoke of the enchanted lantern. Excited by the tale, Finn decided to seek out this magical object, hoping to use its power to help others. With a small satchel of provisions, Finn set out into the forest. The trees were tall and ancient, their branches creating a canopy that allowed only slivers of sunlight to filter through. As he ventured deeper, he encountered a wise old owl perched on a branch. Greetings, young Finn, the owl hooted softly. What brings you to this enchanted forest? Finn bowed respectfully. I seek the enchanted lantern that is said to grant one wish. I wish to use its power to bring happiness to my village. The owl's eyes twinkled. A noble quest. To find the lantern, you must first solve 3 challenges that test your heart. With a nod, Finn followed the owl's instructions and soon arrived at a serene glade. There, a sparkling stream flowed gently, and beside it stood a large, ancient tree with a face carved into its trunk. Welcome, Finn, the tree rumbled. To proceed, you must solve my riddle. I have keys, but open no locks. I have space, but no room. You can enter, but not go outside. What am I? Finn thought hard and then smiled. A piano. The tree's face smiled back. Well done. You may continue. As Finn walked further, he came across a meadow filled with flowers of every color. Among them was a small, golden chest guarded by a mischievous squirrel. To open this chest, the squirrel said, you must solve my riddle. I can be crabbed, made, told, and played. What am I? Finn thought for a moment and then answered, a joke. The squirrel nodded and handed Finn a small, silver key. You are on the right path. Use this key wisely. Finn thanked the squirrel and continued on his journey. Eventually, he arrived at a serene, moonlit pond. At its center was a floating lily pad with a glowing lantern resting upon it. However, the lantern was surrounded by a circle of enchanted mist. Suddenly, a beautiful fairy appeared. To take the lantern, you must answer one final question. What is the most valuable thing you can give to someone? Finn thought about his family, friends, and the village he loved. The most valuable thing you can give is love, he said with conviction. The fairy smiled warmly. You have answered truly. The lantern is yours. Finn carefully took the lantern from the lily pad. As he held it, the glowing gems twinkled brightly, casting a warm light that filled the forest. Finn made his way back to the village, the lantern's light guiding him through the dark forest. Upon returning, Finn gathered the villagers and held up the lantern. With this lantern, I wish for our village to be filled with joy, harmony, and prosperity." As he spoke, the lantern's light spread across the village, touching every home and heart. The once quiet village came alive with laughter, music, and a sense of community. Gardens bloomed with vibrant flowers, and the fields yielded abundant harvests. The villagers were happier than ever, and Finn's selfless wish brought prosperity and peace to the land. From that day on, the enchanted lantern remained a symbol of kindness and the magic that comes from a pure heart. And though the lantern's light eventually dimmed, the warmth it brought to the village never faded. Finn's tale became a cherished story, reminding everyone that the greatest magic of all comes from giving with love and having a heart full of generosity. Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Harmonia, music was not just a source of joy but the very essence of life itself. The kingdom was renowned for its symphonies and melodies, which were said to bring peace and prosperity to the land. At the heart of the kingdom stood the Grand Music Hall, where the most magical of tunes were played, and its centerpiece was an ancient, golden harp known as the Celestial Harp. Legend had it that the Celestial Harp was enchanted and could only be played by someone with a truly pure heart. Its melodies had the power to bring about great change and harmony, but over time, its strings had grown silent, and the kingdom's music began to fade. In the nearby village of Melody Brook lived a young girl named Lyra. She was known for her exceptional talent with the violin and her kind heart. Despite her modest background, Lyra had always dreamed of playing the celestial harp and restoring music to its former glory. One day, a mysterious visitor arrived in Melody Brook. He was an old bard named Eldrick, who had traveled far and wide in search of a musician with a pure heart. Eldrick revealed that the celestial harp needed to be awakened by a special melody, and he believed that Lyra was the one destined to restore its magic. With great excitement, Lyra agreed to undertake the quest. Eldrick gave her a golden key, saying it was the only way to access the Grand Music Hall where the celestial harp was kept. As Lyra and Eldrick made their way to the kingdom, they encountered various challenges that tested their resolve and spirit. Their first challenge was crossing the River of Echoes, a shimmering river that reflected not only their physical appearance but also their inner thoughts and feelings. Lyra played a soothing tune on her violin to calm the turbulent waters, and her melody brought tranquility to the river, allowing them to cross safely. The next challenge was navigating through the Forest of Whispers, where the trees were said to speak in riddles and only revealed the way to those who answered correctly. Lyra and Eldrick listened carefully to the whispers of the trees and solved the riddles with wisdom and patience, gaining passage through the forest. Finally, they reached the Grand Music Hall, which was locked and shrouded in silence. Lyra used the golden key to unlock the door, and they entered the Grand Hall, where the celestial harp stood silent and majestic. The harp was covered in dust, and its strings were still. Eldrick explained that the special melody Lyra needed to play was not a mere tune but a composition that reflected the heart's true desires and emotions. He encouraged her to play from her heart, drawing upon all the love, hope, and dreams she had for her kingdom. With trembling fingers, Lyra began to play her violin, pouring her emotions and dreams into the music. Her melody was pure and heartfelt, weaving through the Grand Music Hall like a golden thread of magic. As she played, the air seemed to shimmer, and the celestial harp began to resonate with her tune. The harp strings glowed with a soft, celestial light, and a harmonious, enchanting melody filled the hall. The music spread throughout the kingdom, reaching every corner of Harmonia. The people felt a renewed sense of joy and unity, and the once silent harp continued to play, bringing prosperity and peace to the land. The celestial harp's melody became a symbol of hope and renewal for Harmonia, and Lyra was celebrated as a hero. The music of the kingdom flourished once more, and the Grand Music Hall became a place where the magic of melodies was cherished and shared. Eldrick, proud of Lyra's success, blessed her with a magical violin that would allow her to create melodies of great beauty and power. Lyra continued to share her music with the kingdom, and her melodies inspired others to pursue their dreams and embrace the magic within their hearts. And so, the kingdom of Harmonia thrived with the enchanting melodies of the celestial harp and Lyra's violin, a reminder of the power of music and the pure-hearted musicians who bring it to life. Once upon a time, in a kingdom called Eldoria, there was a small village named Willowbrook. The village was surrounded by dense forests, sparkling streams, and rolling hills. Willowbrook was a peaceful place, but its people were struggling due to a terrible drought. The crops withered, the animals grew thin, and the once bubbling brook that gave the village its name had nearly dried up. In this village lived a young boy named Finn, known for his kind heart and unwavering optimism. Finn lived with his grandmother, who often told him stories about magical creatures and ancient treasures. His favorite story was about the golden feather, a magical feather from the phoenix of the sun. It was said that the feather could bring life and prosperity wherever it went. One evening, as the sun set over the parched fields, Finn's grandmother called him close. "Finn," she said softly, "the time has come for you to seek the golden feather. Our village is in desperate need, and I believe you have the courage to find it." With his grandmother's blessing and a small satchel of provisions, Finn set off early the next morning. He followed the path through the forest, guided by the tales his grandmother had told him. The journey was long and arduous, but Finn's determination never wavered. As he ventured deeper into the forest, Finn encountered a wise old owl named Athos. Athos perched on a low branch and spoke, "To find the golden feather, you must prove your wisdom. Answer this riddle. What has roots as nobody sees, is taller than trees, up, up it goes, and yet never grows?" Finn thought for a moment, recalling his grandmother's stories. "A mountain," he answered. Athos nodded approvingly and flapped his wings, revealing a hidden path. "Follow this path, and you will find what you seek." Finn continued along the path until he reached a wide, sparkling river. The river's current was swift, and there was no bridge in sight. As he pondered how to cross, a graceful swan glided up to him. "To cross the river, you must prove your kindness," the swan said. "In the reeds, there is a trapped fish. Free it, and I will help you." Finn found the fish tangled in the reeds, struggling to break free. Gently, he untangled the reeds and released the fish into the water. The swan, true to her word, allowed Finn to climb onto her back and ferried him across the river. On the other side, Finn found himself at the foot of a tall, craggy mountain. The path to the top was steep and treacherous, but Finn knew he had to continue. Halfway up the mountain, he encountered a weary traveler sitting by the side of the path. The traveler looked up at Finn with tired eyes and said, "To reach the peak, you must prove your bravery. I have been too afraid to continue. Will you help me?" Finn offered the traveler some of his provisions and encouraged him to keep going. Together, they climbed the mountain, supporting each other when the path became too difficult. When they finally reached the summit, the traveler thanked Finn and revealed himself to be a powerful sorcerer named Alaric. "You have shown great kindness and bravery, Finn," Alaric said. "I will now reveal the location of the phoenix." Alaric waved his hand, and a beam of light pointed to a hidden cave on the mountainside. Inside the cave, the phoenix of the sun sat on a nest of golden feathers. The phoenix's fiery eyes watched Finn as he approached. "Why have you come here, young one?" the phoenix asked in a voice that echoed like a psalm. With respect, Finn explained the plight of his village and his quest to find the golden feather. The phoenix listened intently and then nodded. "You have shown great courage, kindness, and wisdom on your journey. I will grant you one of my feathers to save your village." The phoenix plucked a single, glowing feather from its nest and handed it to Finn. The feather shimmered with a light that was both warm and soothing. "Use this feather wisely," the phoenix advised. "Its magic is powerful but must be used with a pure heart." Finn thanked the phoenix and began his journey back to Willowbrook. When he returned, he found the villagers gathered in the town square, their faces filled with hope and curiosity. Finn held the golden feather high and spoke, "This feather is a gift from the phoenix of the sun. It will bring life and prosperity back to our village." He touched the feather to the ground, and immediately, the earth began to tremble. Green shoots sprouted from the parched soil, the brook bubbled back to life, and the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers. The villagers cheered and embraced one another, their despair replaced with joy and gratitude. From that day forward, Willowbrook flourished. The crops grew bountiful, the animals thrived, and the brook ran clear and strong. Finn was hailed as a hero, and the golden feather was placed in a special shrine at the heart of the village, a reminder of the courage and kindness that had saved them all. And so, the village of Willowbrook lived happily ever after, forever grateful to the brave young boy who brought hope and life back to their land. The end. In a quaint village nestled between rolling hills and lush meadows, there stood an ancient well at the center of the town square. The well was no ordinary one, it was known as the Wishing Well. Legend had it that the well could grant a single wish to anyone who truly believed in its magic, but only if their heart was pure. The villagers often told stories of the well, passing down tales of those who had their wishes granted, of farmers who wished for bountiful harvests, of travelers who wished for safe journeys, and of lovers who wished for eternal happiness. But there was one rule that everyone knew: you could only wish for something selfless, something that would bring joy to others. In the village lived a girl named Lila. She was kind and thoughtful, always helping those in need. Lila lived with her grandmother, who had raised her after her parents passed away when she was very young. Her grandmother was the most important person in Lila's life, but as time went on, her grandmother grew older and weaker. Lila worried every day that she would lose her. One evening, as Lila was tending to her grandmother, the old woman held her hand and whispered, "Lila, my dear, there is something I want you to have." She handed Lila a small, silver coin. "This is for the Wishing Well. I kept it for years, waiting for the right moment, but I think you should have it now. Use it wisely, my sweet girl." Lila took the coin, feeling the weight of her grandmother's words. She had heard of the well's power, but she had never imagined she would be the one to make a wish. She knew exactly what she wanted: to wish for her grandmother's health to be restored. But she also knew the rule: the wish had to be selfless. That night, Lila lay awake, thinking about what to do. She loved her grandmother more than anything, but she didn't want to break the well's rule. As she thought about it, she remembered all the kindness her grandmother had shown to others over the years, how she had helped neighbors in need, cared for the sick, and shared her wisdom with everyone. Lila realized that the best way to honor her grandmother was to wish for something that would bring happiness to the whole village, just as her grandmother had always done. With that in mind, she knew what her wish would be. The next morning, Lila walked to the wishing well with the silver coin clutched tightly in her hand. The village was quiet, the sun just beginning to rise. As she approached the well, she felt a gentle breeze, as if the well was welcoming her. Lila took a deep breath and closed her eyes, thinking of all the people in the village, including her grandmother. She tossed the coin into the well and whispered, "I wish for a garden to grow in the heart of our village, a garden that will bring joy and nourishment to all who live here." The well was silent for a moment, and then Lila heard a soft, melodious sound, like the tinkling of bells. She opened her eyes and saw a faint glow emanating from the well. The light spread out, covering the ground around the well, and wherever it touched, flowers and plants began to grow. Within moments, the village square had transformed into a beautiful garden, filled with vibrant flowers, lush greenery, and fruit-bearing trees. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blossoms, and the sound of birds singing in the trees. The villagers soon awoke to find the garden, and they were amazed. They gathered in the square, marveling at the beauty that had appeared overnight. Lila's grandmother, feeling stronger than she had in years, joined them, her face lighting up with joy at the sight. Lila stood by the well, her heart swelling with happiness. She knew that her wish had been granted, not just for her grandmother, but for everyone. The garden became a place where the villagers would come together, sharing in its bounty and finding peace and joy in its beauty. As time passed, the garden grew even more magnificent, and the village prospered. Lila's grandmother regained her strength, and the villagers often spoke of the day the wishing well had granted Lila's wish. They never knew exactly what she had wished for, but they knew that it had been made with a heart full of love. Lila would often visit the well, sitting by its edge and watching the garden grow. She knew that the true magic of the well wasn't just in granting wishes, but in teaching everyone the power of selflessness and the joy that comes from giving to others. And so, the village thrived, with the wishing well and its magical garden at its heart, a symbol of the love and kindness that Lila had shown with her simple, yet powerful wish. The end. Once upon a time, in a bustling village nestled at the edge of a magical forest, there was an old, quaint shop known for its wondrous collection of antiques. The shop was run by an elderly man named Tobias, who was known far and wide for his knowledge of magical artifacts. One day, as he was dusting off the shelves, he discovered a hidden compartment in a wooden cabinet. Inside was a small, intricately carved music box that had been forgotten over the years. The music box was adorned with delicate patterns of stars and moons, and its surface shimmered with an otherworldly light. Intrigued, Tobias decided to play the music box. As he wound the key and opened the lid, a beautiful, haunting melody began to play. The notes seemed to dance in the air, and Tobias felt a sense of calm and wonder. Unbeknownst to Tobias, the music box had a special enchantment. It was said that the music box held the power to reveal hidden truths and grant a single wish to the one who truly believed in its magic. The enchantment had been waiting for someone with a pure heart to unlock its secrets. One day, a young girl named Ilara came into the shop. Ilara was known for her kindness and her love of music. When she saw the music box, her eyes lit up with curiosity and delight. Tobias noticed her fascination and told her about the music box's magical reputation. Ilara decided to take the music box home, hoping to uncover its secrets. That evening, as the moonlight streamed through her window, she played the music box's melody. As the notes filled the room, Ilara felt a sense of warmth and peace. She closed her eyes and made a heartfelt wish, "I wish to bring joy and harmony to my village." As Ilara made her wish, the music box began to glow softly. Suddenly, a gentle breeze carried the melody outside, and the magic of the music box began to weave through the village. The melody touched the hearts of the villagers, filling them with a sense of unity and happiness. The once bustling and busy village began to transform into a place of joy and harmony. The next morning, the villagers awoke to find that their everyday troubles seemed lighter, and their interactions were filled with kindness and understanding. The village square, once a place of hustle and bustle, now resonated with laughter and music. The fields and gardens flourished, and a sense of tranquility settled over the village. Ilara noticed that the changes in the village were profound and magical. She returned to the shop to thank Tobias and to learn more about the music box. Tobias explained that the music box's enchantment was linked to the genuine wishes of those who believed in its magic. The box had responded to Ilara's pure-hearted wish and had brought about the transformation the village needed. Ilara continued to use the music box's melody to bring joy to the village, and the magical harmony it created became a cherished part of their lives. The villagers celebrated the music box's magic and the kindness of Ilara, who had brought a new sense of unity and happiness to their community. As the years passed, the music box remained a treasured artifact in the village. It was a symbol of the power of kindness and the magic that could be found in even the smallest of wishes. Ilara's story was told to generations, reminding them that the true magic of the music box lay in the pure-hearted wishes and the joy they could bring to the world. And so, the village thrived under the enchanting melody of the music box, and its magic continued to inspire hope and harmony for many years to come. The end. Once upon a time, in a village nestled between rolling hills and endless forests, there was a great oak tree that stood at the heart of the woods. The tree was so old and towering that it was said to have witnessed the rise and fall of kingdoms. Its bark was thick and rough, and its leaves shimmered silver in the moonlight. The villagers called it the Enchanted Oak, for legend had it that the tree held magic within its roots, a magic that could grant a single wish every 100 years. In the village, there lived a young girl named Lila. She was the daughter of a woodcutter and spent most of her days exploring the forest with her best friend, a small fox named Bramble. Lila had heard the stories about the enchanted oak all her life, and like every child in the village, she dreamed of one day finding the tree and making her wish. One day, Lila overheard her parents talking in hushed voices. Her mother had fallen ill, and no healer in the village knew how to cure her. The sickness was spreading through the land, and there was little hope. Lila's heart ached as she watched her mother grow weaker by the day. Desperate to help, Lila decided to find the enchanted oak. She had never ventured deep enough into the forest to see the ancient tree, but she believed in its magic. Early one morning, with Bramble by her side, Lila set off into the forest, following the whispered stories of the villagers that had been passed down through generations. The forest was darker and denser than she had ever imagined. The trees grew taller and closer together, and strange creatures skittered in the shadows. But Lila pressed on, her heart filled with determination. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor, and Lila feared she might lose her way. But just as she was about to turn back, a soft glow appeared in the distance, lighting a path through the trees. Lila followed the glow, and soon, she stood before the enchanted oak. It was more magnificent than she had ever dreamed. The tree's bark seemed to hum with energy, and its silver leaves rustled softly, though there was no wind. At the base of the tree, ancient symbols were carved into the roots, glowing faintly in the twilight. Lila approached the tree, her heart pounding. She had heard that the oak only granted wishes to those who were pure of heart, and she hoped she was worthy. As she placed her hand on the rough bark, the tree seemed to sigh, and a soft, gentle voice echoed in the air. "Why do you seek me, child?" Lila took a deep breath and spoke. "I wish to heal my mother. She is very ill, and no one knows how to help her. Please, enchanted oak, grant me the power to save her." The tree was silent for a moment, and then the voice spoke again. "Your wish is selfless, and your heart is true. But all magic comes with a price, little one. The magic of the forest is ancient and must be respected. If I grant your wish, you will have to give something in return." Lila's heart sank. She had nothing to give. "What must I give?" she asked. The tree's leaves shimmered softly. "You must stay here, in the heart of the forest, and become its guardian. You will protect the magic of the woods and ensure that it is never misused." Lila hesitated. She loved the forest, but the thought of leaving her family, her village, and everything she knew behind was a heavy burden. Still, she knew she could not let her mother die. With a heavy heart, Lila nodded. "I will stay and protect the forest." The enchanted oak's branches swayed, and a soft light surrounded Lila. "Your sacrifice is noble. The magic will heal your mother, and she will live a long and healthy life. But from this day on, you will be the guardian of the forest. The trees, the animals, and the spirits of the woods will be under your care." Lila felt the magic of the tree flow through her, filling her with warmth and strength. She knew that she had made the right choice, even though it meant leaving her old life behind. The next morning, the villagers awoke to find the forest alive with a new energy. The sickness that had plagued the land began to disappear. And Lila's mother woke, healthy and strong. The villagers rejoiced, but Lila was nowhere to be found. Years passed, and the story of Lila's sacrifice became legend. Some said they saw her spirit wandering the forest, a guardian watching over the trees and creatures. Others claimed that if you ventured deep enough into the woods, you could still hear her laughter, carried on the wind like a song. And so, the enchanted oak remained, standing tall and proud at the heart of the forest, its magic protected by the brave girl who had given everything to save those she loved. The end. The enchanted orchard. Once upon a time, in a quaint kingdom nestled between emerald hills and sparkling rivers, there was a mystical orchard known as the Enchanted Orchard. This orchard was renowned for its magical fruits, which were said to have the power to grant one wish to someone with a pure heart and noble intentions. However, the orchard was hidden deep within an ancient forest and could only be found by those who truly needed its magic. In a small, humble village at the edge of the forest lived a young girl named Lila. Lila was known for her kindness and selflessness. She spent her days helping her family and neighbors, tending to the village's gardens, and caring for the sick. Despite her generosity, Lila and her village were suffering from a terrible blight that had ruined their crops and left them in dire need of food. One day, as Lila was tending the village garden, she overheard a group of travelers talking about the enchanted orchard. They spoke of its magical fruits and the wonders it could bring. Determined to help her village, Lila decided she would venture into the forest to find the orchard and use its magic to save her home. The journey begins early the next morning. Lila packed a small satchel with bread, a flask of water, and a warm cloak. She set off into the ancient forest, guided only by the whispers of the wind and the stories she had heard. The forest was dense and mysterious, with towering trees and winding paths. As she journeyed deeper into the forest, Lila encountered a wise old owl perched on a gnarled tree branch. The owl looked at her with piercing eyes and said, "To find the enchanted orchard, you must first solve my riddle. I have branches but no fruit, no trunk but plenty of leaves. What am I?" Lila pondered for a moment and then answered, "A book." The owl hooted in approval and flapped its wings, revealing a hidden path illuminated by a soft, silver glow. Lila followed the path, her heart filled with hope. The mysterious glade. The path led Lila to a serene glade where the trees were adorned with glowing fireflies. In the center of the glade was a gently bubbling spring, and beside it stood a graceful deer. The deer spoke softly. "To continue, you must solve this riddle. What has cities, but no houses, mountains, but no trees, and water, but no fish?" Lila thought carefully and then answered, "A map." The deer nodded and stepped aside, revealing a shimmering bridge that spanned across the spring. Lila crossed the bridge and continued her journey. The enchanted orchard. The bridge led Lila to a hidden grove bathed in golden light. In the center of the grove stood the enchanted orchard, its trees laden with glowing fruits of every color imaginable. The air was filled with a sweet, intoxicating fragrance. Lila approached the orchard and saw a large, ancient tree in the middle, with a single, magnificent fruit hanging from its branches. The tree spoke in a deep, melodic voice, "To receive the magic of the enchanted orchard, you must make a wish with a heart full of love and selflessness. What you wish for should benefit others." Lila took a deep breath and made her wish. "I wish for my village to be blessed with abundant crops and to have enough food for everyone, so that no one has to go hungry." As she spoke, the magnificent fruit began to glow even brighter, and a gentle breeze carried its magic back to Lila's village. The light spread across the forest, flowing into the fields and gardens of her home. The return to the village. When Lila returned to her village, she was greeted with astonished joy. The once barren fields were now lush and green, the crops were thriving, and there was plenty of food for everyone. The village celebrated with a grand feast, and the people were filled with gratitude for Lila's bravery and kindness. The magic of the enchanted orchard had transformed the village, bringing prosperity and happiness to all. Lila was honored as a hero, and her story became a cherished legend, passed down through generations as a reminder of the power of selflessness and the magic that lies within a kind heart. And so, Lila's village continued to thrive, forever blessed by the magic of the enchanted orchard and the loving heart of one extraordinary young girl. The tale of the starlit bridge. In a serene kingdom surrounded by rolling meadows and shimmering lakes, there was a quaint village known for its peace and prosperity. But there was one mystery that intrigued everyone: the starlit bridge, a majestic bridge that spanned the grand river dividing the kingdom. Legend had it that the bridge was built by a celestial being and had the power to grant a single wish to those who crossed it under the light of the full moon. The starlit bridge was always bathed in a soft, glowing light that made it look like it was made of stars. But no one had ever been able to make a wish come true, and over time, the bridge had become a symbol of hope rather than fulfillment. In this village lived a brave and kind-hearted young woman named Alara. She was known for her beautiful voice and her love for helping others. Despite the many hardships the villagers faced, Alara always maintained a hopeful spirit, believing that the magic of the starlit bridge could one day be real. One evening, as the full moon rose high in the sky, Alara decided it was time to see if the legend was true. She carefully prepared a small pouch with a token of each person in the village: a piece of thread from a grandmother's quilt, a button from a child's coat, a feather from a farmer's hat, each item representing the hopes and dreams of her fellow villagers. With the pouch in hand and a heart full of hope, Alara made her way to the starlit bridge. As she stepped onto the bridge, the soft, starry glow seemed to welcome her. She walked slowly, taking in the shimmering beauty of the bridge and the reflection of the moonlight on the river below. At the center of the bridge, Elara paused and took out the pouch. She closed her eyes and whispered her wish. "I wish for the well-being and happiness of my village. May their dreams come true and may they find the prosperity they deserve." As Elara finished her wish, the bridge's light grew brighter, and a gentle breeze carried the starry glow across the river. The water began to shimmer with a radiant light, and the stars in the sky seemed to dance in harmony with the moon's reflection. Suddenly, a figure appeared before her, a graceful being with shimmering wings and a gown made of stardust. It was the celestial guardian of the starlit bridge. The guardian smiled warmly at Elara. "Your wish has been heard, dear child," the guardian said with a voice as gentle as the night breeze. "You have given your heart selflessly for the sake of others. Because of your pure spirit, I will grant the wish you have made." The guardian reached out and touched the pouch of tokens. As she did, the items glowed with a magical light. The stars in the sky aligned to form a beautiful constellation that seemed to bless the village with a warm, golden light. "The magic of the starlit bridge is not just in the wishing but in the selflessness and love you have shown," the guardian continued. "Your village will soon find the happiness and prosperity they seek." With a wave of her hand, the celestial guardian faded into the night sky, leaving Elara with a heart full of joy and hope. As she walked back to the village, she saw the first signs of change. The fields were beginning to bloom with vibrant colors, the villagers were smiling and working together, and a sense of prosperity was in the air. Elara's wish had indeed come true. The village thrived, and the starlit bridge became a cherished symbol of the power of selflessness and hope. The villagers celebrated with a grand feast and a festival under the stars, honoring Elara's courage and the magic of the bridge. From that day on, the story of Elara and the starlit bridge was told and retold, reminding everyone that the true magic of the world lies in the kindness and love we share with others. And as the stars continued to shine brightly over the bridge, the village lived in harmony and happiness, forever touched by the enchanting tale of the starlit bridge. And they all lived happily ever after. I hope you enjoyed this fairy tale. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there was a magical forest where no one dared to enter. The trees were so tall that their tops touched the clouds, and the animals there could speak in human tongues. The heart of this forest was said to hold a great secret, one that only the bravest and kindest could discover. In a grand castle not far from the forest, there lived a young princess named Elara. She was known throughout the kingdom for her kindness and curiosity. She loved exploring the castle gardens and reading stories of faraway lands. But there was one place she had never been allowed to go, the magical forest. One day, Princess Elara overheard her parents, the king and queen, speaking in hushed tones. They were worried about something important. The princess listened closely and heard them mention the forest and a mysterious curse. They spoke of a lost princess, a girl who had disappeared many years ago, leaving the kingdom heartbroken. The only clue to her whereabouts was said to be hidden deep within the magical forest. Elara's heart raced with curiosity and concern. She felt a strong pull toward the forest, as if it were calling her. That night, she made a decision. She would enter the forest and find out the truth about the lost princess. The next morning, before the sun had fully risen, Elara sneaked out of the castle. She wore a simple cloak and carried a small bag with food and water. As she approached the edge of the forest, she felt both excited and nervous. The trees loomed over her, their leaves whispering secrets in the wind. Taking a deep breath, Elara stepped into the forest. The air was cool and fresh, and the sounds of birds singing filled her ears. As she walked, she noticed that the animals were not afraid of her. A squirrel chattered a friendly greeting, and a deer bowed its head as she passed. Elara smiled, feeling a little more at ease. After a while, she came upon a large, ancient oak tree. It was the biggest tree she had ever seen, with roots that spread out like giant fingers and branches that seemed to touch the sky. As Elara approached the tree, she felt a warm breeze, and then, to her amazement, the tree began to speak. "Welcome, Princess Elara, the tree said in a deep, gentle voice. I have been waiting for you. Elara gasped in surprise. You know who I am? She asked. The tree's branches swayed as if nodding. Yes, I know many things. I am the guardian of this forest, and I know why you have come. Elara's eyes widened. You do? Can you tell me about the lost princess? My parents mentioned her, and I feel like I need to help. The tree sighed, and its leaves rustled softly. The lost princess you seek is closer than you think. Many years ago, a terrible curse was placed upon this kingdom. The curse took a young princess from her family and trapped her in this forest. She has been waiting for someone with a pure heart to find her and break the curse. Elara felt a surge of determination. How can I help? What must I do to break the curse? The tree's bark shimmered with a faint golden light. To break the curse, you must find the princess's heart. It is hidden in a place where only the brave and the kind can reach. But beware, the forest will test you. You must face 3 challenges, each one more difficult than the last. Only then will you find the princess's heart and free the lost princess. Elara nodded, her resolve strengthening. I'm ready. Tell me what I must do. The tree's voice grew serious. Your first challenge is to find the stream of reflection. Follow the path to your right until you reach the stream. There, you must look into the water and see your true self. Only when you understand what you see can you move forward. Elara thanked the tree and set off in the direction it had told her. The path was narrow and winding, and she had to duck under low branches and step carefully over roots. After what felt like hours, she heard the sound of flowing water and soon found herself standing before a clear, sparkling stream. She knelt down and looked into the water. At first, she saw only her reflection, the face of a young girl with bright eyes and a determined expression. But as she continued to gaze into the stream, the water began to ripple, and her reflection changed. She saw herself not as a princess, but as a girl who was kind, brave, and full of love for her family in her kingdom. She saw all the good she had done, and all the good she could do in the future. But she also saw her fears, her fear of not being enough, her fear of failure. Tears filled Elara's eyes as she realized that being a princess wasn't about titles or riches. It was about the strength of her heart and the choices she made. With this newfound understanding, the water in the stream began to glow with a soft light. The stream whispered, "You have seen your true self. You may move forward." Elara smiled and wiped away her tears. She stood up and continued on her journey. The second challenge soon awaited her. As she walked, she came upon a large, twisted briar patch. The thorns were sharp and thick, and there was no way around it. She would have to find a way through. Remembering the tree's words, Elara knew this challenge was not just about physical strength. She had to use her mind and her heart. She thought of the many people in her kingdom who faced obstacles every day, people who needed help, guidance, and sometimes just a little kindness. She realized that the thorns represented these challenges, and to overcome them, she needed to face them head-on, with courage and care. Taking a deep breath, she carefully began to part the thorns, speaking softly to them as if they were living things. "Please let me pass," she whispered. "I mean no harm." To her surprise, the thorns began to soften and move aside, creating a narrow path for her to walk through. Elara moved slowly, her heart full of hope. When she finally reached the other side, she saw that the briar patch had vanished, replaced by a field of beautiful flowers. "You have shown kindness and courage," a voice said on the breeze. "You may continue." Elara knew she was close to finding the princess's heart. She continued on, her steps lighter and her spirit stronger. Soon, she reached a clearing where a large, glowing crystal stood in the center. It pulsed with a gentle light, and Elara knew this was the princess's heart. But before she could reach it, a dark shadow appeared. It took the form of a towering figure with glowing red eyes, blocking her path. "You will not take the heart," the shadow growled. "It belongs to the curse, and no one shall break it." Elara's heart pounded in her chest, but she stood her ground. "I will not let fear stop me. The lost princess deserves to be free, and I will do everything I can to save her." The shadow laughed, but Alara did not falter. She closed her eyes and remembered all the good she had seen in herself, all the kindness and bravery she had shown. She thought of the love she had for her family in her kingdom, and with that love, she stepped forward. As she did, the light from the crystal grew brighter, and the shadow began to shrink. Alara kept walking, her heart filled with determination and love. The shadow roared, but it was no match for the light. It dissolved into nothingness, and the crystal floated into Alara's hands. "You have passed the final test," a voice whispered, gentle and warm. "You have found the princess's heart." The crystal in Alara's hands began to glow brighter and brighter until it transformed into a young girl, a girl who looked just like Alara, but with hair as silver as the moon. It was the lost princess, freed at last. "Thank you," the princess said, her voice filled with gratitude. "You have saved me and lifted the curse. The kingdom is free once more." The two princesses embraced, and together they returned to the castle. The king and queen were overjoyed to see their daughter safe and to learn that the curse had been broken. The lost princess, who had been trapped for so long, was welcomed back with open arms. From that day on, the kingdom flourished, and the magical forest became a place of wonder and peace. Princess Alara was celebrated not just for her bravery, but for the strength of her heart. And so, the two princesses lived happily ever after, side by side, as sisters and as the future queens of a kingdom filled with love, kindness, and light. The end. Once upon a time, in a land where magic was as common as the stars in the sky, there was a dense forest known as the Whispering Woods. It was called so because the trees were said to murmur secrets of ancient times. This forest was a place of wonder and mystery, often visited by those seeking adventure and magic. In a quaint village on the edge of the forest lived a curious and brave girl named Alara. With hair as wild as the forest itself and eyes that sparkled with curiosity, Alara had always been fascinated by the stories of the Whispering Woods. The villagers spoke of a hidden treasure deep within the forest, guarded by enchanted creatures and riddles. One evening, as the full moon rose high in the sky, Alara heard a soft, melodic whisper coming from the woods. The whisper was unlike anything she had heard before. It seemed to call her name. Without hesitation, Alara decided that tonight would be the night she ventured into the forest to uncover its secrets. Equipped with a lantern, a compass, and her trusty little dagger, Alara stepped into the Whispering Woods. The moonlight filtered through the leaves, casting a silver glow on the path before her. As she walked, the trees seemed to lean closer, their whispers growing louder and more insistent. After an hour of walking, Alara reached a small clearing where a stone archway stood, covered in ivy. The archway was adorned with intricate carvings of mythical creatures. She stepped through it and found herself in a meadow illuminated by the moon's soft glow. In the center of the meadow stood a large, ancient tree with a door at its base. Alara approached the tree and noticed that the door was locked with a magical seal. Above the door was a riddle carved into the bark, *, "In darkness I dwell, yet light I bring. I am found in the heart of the night's wing. What am I? Star." Alara pondered the riddle. She thought about the night and the moon, the very things that guided her here. Then it struck her, a star. She spoke the answer aloud. And the door creaked open. Inside, she discovered a spiral staircase leading down into the depths of the tree. With her lantern held high, Alara descended the stairs, which seemed to stretch endlessly. The air grew cooler and filled with the scent of old parchment and moss. At the bottom of the stairs, Alara found herself in a vast underground chamber filled with glowing crystals and ancient artifacts. In the center of the room was a pedestal with a velvet cushion, and on it lay a golden key, sparkling with an ethereal light. As she reached for the key, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a graceful, ethereal being with delicate wings and a shimmering gown, a fairy. The fairy spoke in a voice like the tinkling of bells. "To claim the treasure, you must first prove your heart's true intention." Alara, though taken aback, spoke with sincerity. I seek not for riches or glory, but to understand the magic of this forest and to protect its wonders." The fairy smiled and nodded. "Your heart is pure, and your intention noble. The key is yours." With the golden key in hand, Elara followed a hidden passage revealed by the fairy's touch. The passage led her to a grand chamber where the walls were lined with enchanted artifacts and scrolls of ancient knowledge. At the far end of the chamber was a magnificent chest adorned with celestial symbols. Elara used the key to unlock the chest. Inside, she found not gold or jewels, but a scroll glowing with soft, white light. The scroll contained the wisdom of the Whispering Woods, the secrets of maintaining balance between magic and nature. Elara understood that the true treasure was the knowledge to protect and nurture the magical forest. With a grateful heart, she carefully rolled up the scroll and made her way back to the village, guided by the moonlight and the whispering trees. The next morning, the villagers marveled at Elara's tale and the wisdom she brought back. From that day forward, the Whispering Woods thrived under Elara's care, and the village flourished in harmony with the magic of the forest. Elara's bravery and pure heart were celebrated, and the Whispering Woods remained a place of wonder and magic, its secrets safe with those who cherished them. And so, the girl who listened to the whispers of the woods became its guardian, ensuring that its enchantment would never fade. And that is how Elara's moonlit quest brought everlasting harmony between magic and nature. Once upon a time, in a land where rolling green hills met endless blue skies, there lay a hidden valley known as Etheria. This valley was famous for its sparkling streams, blooming meadows, and ancient trees that whispered secrets of old. At the heart of Etheria stood a grand castle, its towers piercing the sky, where the royal family had lived for centuries. The castle was not just any castle, it was enchanted and protected by a mysterious key that had been lost for generations. The story of the key was known to all. It was said that whoever possessed the key could unlock the castle's most powerful magic, capable of bringing prosperity and happiness to the entire land. But as time went on, the key vanished, and the magic of the castle faded, leaving the kingdom in a period of uneasy calm. In the village of Elder Tide, just beyond the castle's borders, lived a young girl named Arya. She was known for her curious mind and kind heart, often helping villagers with their troubles and exploring the forests and streams of Etheria. One day, while wandering near an old, overgrown well at the edge of the forest, Arya stumbled upon a hidden door covered in ivy. Intrigued, she brushed aside the vines and discovered an ornate, ancient keyhole embedded in the door. As she examined the keyhole, a small, faded map fell from the doorframe and fluttered to the ground. It was marked with strange symbols and an image of the castle, showing a hidden chamber that Arya had never seen before. Her heart raced with excitement. Could this be a clue to the missing key? Determined to solve the mystery, Arya set out on a journey. Following the map's directions, she ventured deep into the forest, across babbling brooks, and over misty hills. The map led her to a series of enchanted landmarks, a glowing pond, a tree with silver leaves, and a field of golden flowers that seemed to whisper her name. At the final landmark, Arya found herself before a towering stone archway covered in luminous runes. The archway was adorned with intricate carvings of mythical creatures and ancient symbols. Arya noticed a small indentation in the archway that seemed to match the shape of a key. As she touched the indentation, the runes began to glow, and a hidden compartment slowly revealed itself. Inside the compartment was a beautiful, old-fashioned key, encrusted with gemstones and shimmering with a soft, golden light. Arya's eyes widened with awe. This must be the lost enchanted key. With the key in hand, Arya hurried back to the castle. She approached the grand entrance and inserted the key into the lock. To her amazement, the castle's doors creaked open, revealing a breathtaking hall filled with ancient tapestries and glowing chandeliers. At the end of the hall stood a large, ornate door. Arya approached it, her heart pounding with anticipation. She inserted the enchanted key into the door's lock and turned it slowly. As the door swung open, a wave of warm, golden light poured out, filling the hall with a gentle glow. Inside the chamber, Arya discovered a magnificent throne room with a crystal-clear pool at its center. The pool reflected the entire sky, and its waters sparkled with countless colors. In the center of the pool floated a small, glowing orb, a magical artifact that seemed to pulse with life. As Arya reached out to touch the orb, the room was filled with a soothing melody, and the magical energies began to flow through the castle once more. The enchantments that had faded over the years were rekindled, and the castle's magic spread throughout the land. The once dormant forests and fields began to bloom with new life, and the stream sparkled with renewed vigor. Arya returned to the village, where the villagers greeted her with cheers and wonder. The kingdom of Etheria had been restored to its former glory, and prosperity returned to every corner of the land. The enchanted key had been found and its magic renewed, thanks to Arya's bravery and curiosity. The legend of the enchanted key and the girl who had restored its magic became a cherished tale in Etheria. Arya was celebrated as a heroine, and her story was passed down through generations as a reminder that even the smallest of discoveries could unlock the greatest of wonders. And so, the kingdom flourished, the enchanted castle stood tall and vibrant, and Arya lived out her days with a heart full of adventure and joy, knowing that she had played a part in bringing magic back to the land. Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Eldervale, there was a town perched on the banks of a river that shimmered like silver in the sunlight. The river was known as the Silver Song, not only for its beauty but for the soft melody that seemed to drift on the wind whenever one stood near its banks. It was said that the river held ancient magic, and every few generations, it granted a single wish to someone pure of heart. In this town lived a young boy named Aaron. His mother was a healer, and his father had passed away when Aaron was just a baby. Aaron often helped his mother gather herbs, but his real love was the Silver Song River. Each morning, he would wake early, before the sun had fully risen, and sit by the water, listening to the river's quiet song. His deepest wish was to know the secret of the river and hear its true song, the one said to reveal the wisdom of the ages. One summer day, as Aaron sat on the riverbank skipping stones, an old fisherman approached him. The man was hunched and weathered from years of casting nets, his eyes sharp as flint. He sat beside Aaron and cast his line into the water without a word. After a few minutes of silence, he spoke in a raspy voice. "You listen to the river every day, don't you?" Aaron nodded, surprised the man had noticed. "Yes, sir. I've always wondered what its song really means." The fisherman smiled. "I've seen many young folk sit by this river, but none have ever asked to know its secrets. They're too busy wanting riches or fame. You, though, you want to understand." Aaron looked at him, confused. "Can you tell me the secret of the river?" The fisherman's eyes gleamed. The river's secret can only be revealed to someone who is willing to take a journey. And not just any journey, a journey to the source of the Silver Song. But beware, it's not an easy path. You'll face challenges that will test your heart. Aaron felt a thrill of excitement, but also a twinge of fear. He had heard stories of strange creatures and enchanted woods that lay beyond the town. But his desire to know the truth was greater than his fear. "How do I find the source?" Aaron asked, determined. The fisherman handed him a small, silver fishhook. "Tie this to any thread and cast it into the water. The river will guide you." The next morning, Aaron set out on his journey. He tied the silver hook to a length of string and cast it into the river. To his amazement, the hook began to pull upstream, tugging him along as if the river itself were leading the way. For days, Aaron followed the river, walking through forests and over hills. As he journeyed deeper into the unknown, the melody of the river grew louder, more beautiful, and more complex. But soon, the trials the fisherman had warned him about began. The first test came when Aaron reached a dense, thorny thicket. The river disappeared into the brambles, and there seemed to be no way forward. Aaron thought about turning back, but the river's song urged him on. Remembering the healer's salve his mother had taught him to make from forest herbs, he gently gathered what he needed to soften the thorns, creating a path through the dangerous plants. As he passed through, a voice whispered from the trees, "Kindness to the earth will open the way." The second trial was a vast, dark forest filled with eerie sounds. Aaron could barely see, and shadows seemed to move around him. Just as fear was about to overwhelm him, he remembered the stories his mother had told him to calm his nerves as a child. He began to hum the melody of the river softly to himself, hoping it would keep the shadows at bay. The deeper he went, the more confident he became, until the forest began to glow with soft moonlight. "The brave heart finds light in darkness," said the wind. Finally, Aaron reached a towering waterfall, where the river cascaded from the cliffs above, turning into the Silver Song. There, at the foot of the waterfall, stood a woman dressed in robes of water and starlight. Her hair flowed like the river itself, and her eyes sparkled with wisdom beyond the ages. "You have come far, Aaron," she said, her voice like the river's song. "Many turn back before they reach this place, but you have shown kindness, bravery, and perseverance." Aaron bowed his head, both in awe and humility. "I seek to know the secret of the Silver Song River, to understand its true song." The woman smiled gently. "You have already begun to understand it. The song of the Silver Song is not a secret hidden in the river's depths, it is the song of life itself. It flows through kindness, through bravery, and through every heart that seeks it not for power, but for truth. The river's magic lies in the harmony between all living things, and those who listen can learn from it." As she spoke, the melody of the river rose into the air, filling Aaron's heart with a deep sense of peace and understanding. He realized that the journey itself had been the true answer. The river had taught him through the trials he faced. The woman stepped forward and handed him a small vial filled with water from the Silver Song. "Take this with you, Aaron. It holds the essence of the river. And with it, you may heal hearts and bring peace wherever you go." With gratitude, Aaron accepted the gift, knowing that the river had given him more than just a secret. It had given him wisdom he would carry for the rest of his life. When he returned to his village, the townspeople noticed a change in him, a quiet strength and understanding that hadn't been there before. He used the vial of Silver Song water to help his mother heal the sick and comfort those in need. And though the river continued to sing its soft melody, Aaron knew its true song now lived within his heart. And so, the boy who once longed to hear the secret of the Silver Song River became a guide for others, teaching them to listen to the quiet songs in their own lives. The end. Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled between towering mountains and endless forests, there was a hidden valley known only to a few. This valley was renowned for its breathtaking beauty, but it held a secret more wondrous than any other: the Starlight Crystal, a gem said to possess the power to grant one great wish. In the nearby village of Everwood, there lived a kind-hearted boy named Finn. Finn was known for his bravery and his willingness to help anyone in need. Though he lived a modest life, he always dreamed of making a difference in the world beyond his village. One day, while helping his father in the fields, Finn overheard a traveler speaking of the Starlight Crystal and its extraordinary power. Inspired, Finn decided that he would seek out the crystal to make a wish that could help his village. With a sense of adventure and a heart full of hope, Finn set out on his quest. The journey to the hidden valley was treacherous, with steep cliffs, dense forests, and mysterious creatures lurking in the shadows. Finn was determined, though, and he braved each challenge with courage and perseverance. As he journeyed deeper into the forest, he encountered a wise old owl perched on a gnarled branch. The owl, sensing Finn's noble intentions, spoke to him. "To find the Starlight Crystal, you must prove your heart's purity. You will face 3 trials that test your bravery, kindness, and wisdom." Finn nodded, ready to face the challenges. The first trial was to cross a treacherous chasm spanned by a fragile, swaying bridge. As he stepped onto the bridge, it began to tremble and creak. Finn's heart raced, but he focused on the goal and slowly made his way across, holding tightly to the ropes. Just as he reached the other side, the bridge collapsed behind him, and he knew he had passed the first trial. The second trial was a forest filled with enchanted creatures who had been cursed to sleep until someone showed them kindness. Finn found a small, injured fox tangled in thorns. He gently freed the fox and tended to its wounds, singing softly to calm it. As he did, the curse lifted, and the forest creatures awoke, their gratitude lighting up the dark woods. Finn had succeeded in the second trial through his compassion. The final trial was to solve a riddle posed by a shimmering, silver stream that flowed through the heart of the valley. The stream spoke in a gentle voice. To reveal the path to the Starlight Crystal, you must answer this. What can travel around the world while staying in a corner? Finn thought deeply, remembering the lessons he had learned on his journey. Suddenly, the answer came to him. A stamp, he said with confidence. The stream sparkled and parted, revealing a hidden path lined with glowing flowers. Finn followed the path to a magnificent cave where the Starlight Crystal rested on a pedestal, bathing the cave in a soft, celestial glow. Finn approached the crystal and placed his hands on it. The crystal's light intensified, and a voice echoed through the cave. You have proven your heart's worth. State your wish, and it shall be granted. Finn thought of his village and the struggles they faced. I wish for my village to have prosperity and happiness, so that everyone may live well and support each other. The crystal's light enveloped Finn, and a warm, golden glow spread out from the cave. When Finn returned to Everwood, he found that the village had been transformed. The fields were lush with crops, the wells were full of fresh water, and the people were smiling and content. The village thrived like never before, and Finn's wish had come true. The villagers celebrated Finn's return, and he shared the story of his journey in the trials he had faced. The tale of Finn's bravery, kindness, and wisdom became a cherished legend in Everwood, and the village prospered with a newfound sense of unity and joy. Finn continued to live a humble yet fulfilling life, knowing that he had made a difference. The secret of the Starlight Crystal remained a treasured story, passed down through generations as a reminder of the power of a pure heart and the magic that can come from selfless wishes. And so, Finn and the village of Everwood lived happily ever after, their days filled with prosperity, happiness, and the warm glow of shared dreams. In a quaint village called Meadowbrook, nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, lived a young girl named Lila. Lila was known for her boundless curiosity and her kind heart. She loved to explore the woods and fields surrounding her village, always hoping to uncover some new secret or hidden wonder. One crisp autumn evening, as Lila walked home from the forest, she noticed a peculiar glow coming from a nearby hill. Intrigued, she climbed the hill and discovered a small, ancient stone covered in intricate carvings. The stone seemed to shimmer with a faint, magical light. At its center was a deep blue gem, a starstone, as the village legends called it. According to the stories passed down through generations, the Starstone was a magical gem that had the power to grant one wish to a person with a pure heart. However, it had been lost for many years, and its magic was believed to be a mere fairy tale. Excited by her discovery, Lila gently touched the Starstone, and a soft voice whispered in her ear, "To awaken the magic, you must follow the path of courage, wisdom, and compassion." The quest begins. Determined to unlock the Starstone's magic, Lila set out on a quest. She took the gem to her grandmother, who was known for her knowledge of ancient legends. Her grandmother confirmed the tale and explained that the Starstone's magic could only be activated by completing 3 challenges, one of courage, one of wisdom, and one of compassion. Lila packed a small bag with essentials and set off into the forest, following the map of clues her grandmother had provided. The first challenge led her to the Caves of Echoes, a dark and winding labyrinth said to test one's courage. The challenge of courage. Inside the caves, Lila encountered eerie shadows and strange sounds that seemed to play tricks on her mind. The cave was filled with twisting passages and unexpected obstacles. As she ventured deeper, she found herself face to face with a giant spider, its eyes glowing menacingly. Despite her fear, Lila remembered the stories of bravery she had heard. Taking a deep breath, she stood her ground and spoke kindly to the spider, explaining that she meant no harm. To her surprise, the spider revealed itself to be a guardian of the cave and was testing her bravery. Pleased with her courage, the spider allowed her to pass and provided her with a shimmering crystal to help guide her on the rest of her journey. The challenge of wisdom. The next challenge took Lila to the Wise Owl's Grove, where an ancient owl named Olwen awaited her. Olwen was known for his riddles and wisdom. To pass this challenge, Lila had to solve a riddle that would reveal the way to the final challenge. Olwen asked, "I am not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I? Lila thought carefully and answered, fire. Olwen nodded approvingly and gave Lila a magical parchment that would show her the path to the final challenge. The parchment glowed with a soft light and guided her to the heart of the forest, where the final test awaited. The challenge of compassion in the heart of the forest, Lila found a small, injured fawn. The fawn was trembling and in pain, unable to move. This challenge was to test her compassion. Lila gently tended to the fawn, using her first aid knowledge and the herbs she had gathered along the way. She spoke soothing words and made a cozy nest for the fawn to rest. As she cared for the fawn, a gentle breeze blew through the trees, and a soft light surrounded them. The fawn's injuries began to heal, and it stood up, its eyes filled with gratitude. The spirit of the forest, moved by Lila's compassion, revealed itself and granted her the final piece of the puzzle. The wish fulfilled with all 3 challenges complete, Lila returned to the Starstone. As she placed the crystal, the parchment, and the light from her journey near the stone, it began to glow brightly. The magical energy of the Starstone enveloped her, and she felt a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. Lila made her wish, I wish for my village to thrive and be filled with happiness and prosperity. The Starstone's light spread throughout the land, and the village of Meadowbrook began to flourish. The fields became abundant with crops, the river flowed with crystal clear water, and the village was filled with joy and laughter. The villagers marveled at the transformation and celebrated Lila's bravery, wisdom, and compassion. A lasting legacy. Lila's tale became a cherished story in Meadowbrook, inspiring generations to come. The Starstone was returned to its resting place, waiting for the next pure-hearted seeker. Lila continued to explore and help others, her actions always guided by the lessons she had learned on her quest. As the years passed, Meadowbrook thrived under the blessings of the Starstone. The village remained a place of happiness and harmony, and Lila's legacy lived on as a symbol of courage, wisdom, and compassion. And so, in the magical village of Meadowbrook, the Starstone's light continued to shine brightly, a testament to the power of a pure heart and the magic of a wish fulfilled. The end. Once upon a time, in a kingdom where the skies were painted with stars and the moonlight danced across silver lakes, there was a hidden valley known as Etheria. This valley was blessed with a wondrous feature, a bridge made entirely of stardust. Each night, the bridge shimmered with 1,000 colors, connecting the realm of the ordinary with the land of dreams. In a quaint village at the edge of Etheria, lived a curious young girl named Leora. Leora loved gazing at the stars and often wondered what lay beyond the starry bridge. The villagers spoke of magical beings and enchanted lands, but no one had ever ventured across the bridge and returned to tell the tale. One evening, as the sky turned a deep indigo and the first stars began to twinkle, Leora decided it was time to uncover the secrets of the bridge. She packed a small bag with essentials, a lantern, a notebook, and a piece of honey cake her grandmother had baked. With a heart full of excitement and a touch of trepidation, she set off towards the glittering bridge. As Leora stepped onto the bridge, she felt a tingling sensation beneath her feet. The stardust was warm and soft, like stepping onto a cloud. The bridge sparkled with every step she took, and she marveled at how it seemed to pulse with the rhythm of the night. The journey across the bridge was enchanting. The stardust beneath her shimmered in hues of violet and gold, and the air was filled with the soft melodies of celestial music. As Leora approached the end of the bridge, she noticed a magnificent castle floating in the air, surrounded by clouds that sparkled like diamonds. This was the realm of dreams, a place where imagination and reality danced together. Upon reaching the castle, Leora was greeted by a graceful fairy named Lyra. Lyra had wings that glowed like moonlight and a crown of twinkling stars. "Welcome to the dream realm," Lyra said with a warm smile. "I am Lyra, and I've been expecting you." Leora was taken aback. "You were expecting me?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, the stars have whispered of your arrival. We need your help, Leora. Our dream realm is in trouble. The Dream Stone, which powers our world and keeps dreams alive, has been stolen by the Shadow of Woe." Leora's eyes widened. The The shadow of woe? What can I do to help? Lyra's expression was serious but hopeful. The shadow of woe resides in the gloomy cavern, deep within the forest of forgotten dreams. To retrieve the dream stone, you must face 3 challenges that test your courage, wisdom, and kindness. Without hesitation, Leora agreed to help. Lyra gave her a magical compass that would guide her through the forest and offered a piece of moonlight to light her path. With a determined heart, Leora set off on her quest. The forest of forgotten dreams was a maze of twisted trees and misty pathways. The first challenge awaited her, a giant, sleeping dragon guarding a shimmering key. Leora had to solve a riddle to awaken the dragon without frightening it. The riddle was, what can you hold in your left hand but not in your right? Leora thought for a moment and answered, your right hand. The dragon, pleased with her answer, gave her the key and wished her well. The second challenge was a puzzle made of floating, glowing stones that formed a bridge over a chasm. Leora had to arrange the stones in the correct pattern to cross safely. With patience and careful observation, she figured out the pattern and made it across. The final challenge was the most daunting, a test of kindness. The shadow of woe had transformed the forest creatures into gloomy, despairing beings. Leora had to lift their spirits by sharing stories of hope and joy. As she spoke of her village and the wonders of the starry bridge, the creatures began to smile and regain their light. Even the shadow of woe felt a change in its heart. When Leora reached the gloomy cavern, she found the dream stone hidden in a dark, cold corner. As she reached for it, the shadow of woe appeared, its form flickering with sadness and anger. Leora took a deep breath and spoke kindly to the shadow. I know you're not truly wicked. You've been lonely and forgotten. Let us help you find joy again. The shadow of woe's dark form began to soften. With Leora's encouragement, the shadow transformed back into a gentle spirit. It revealed that it had stolen the dream stone out of desperation, hoping to be remembered. Leora offered her friendship and promised that it would always have a place in the dream realm. With the dream stone in hand, Leora returned to the castle. The dream stone was restored to its rightful place, and the dream realm once again shimmered with vibrant colors and joyful dreams. Lyra and the other inhabitants of the realm celebrated Leora's bravery and kindness. As a token of their gratitude, Lyra granted Leora a special gift, a small vial of stardust that would allow her to visit the dream realm whenever she wished. Leora thanked Lyra and the inhabitants of the dream realm before making her way back across the starry bridge. When she returned to her village, Leora shared her adventure with the villagers, inspiring them with stories of the dream realm and the magic of the starry bridge. And each night, as she gazed up at the stars, she knew that the bridge was not just a path between worlds but a symbol of the magic that lies in the courage and kindness of a single heart. Once upon a time, in the picturesque kingdom of Celestia, there was a beautiful lake known as Starry Lake. This lake was famous for its shimmering waters that sparkled like the night sky, and for the legend of the moonflower, a mystical flower said to grant one wish to those who found it under the light of the full moon. The moonflower was hidden somewhere in the depths of the lake and could only be seen on the night of the grand moon, when the moon was at its fullest and brightest. In a cozy cottage on the edge of Celestia lived a brave and kind-hearted girl named Elara. Elara was known for her adventurous spirit and her love of nature. Her best friend was a clever and loyal turtle named Toby, who had a knack for solving puzzles and discovering hidden paths. One evening, as the grand moon began to rise, Elara and Toby discovered an old, ornate compass buried in a bed of fallen leaves near their cottage. The compass had a glowing gem at its center and a note that read, "Starry Lake awaits. Follow the compass on the grand moon night to find the moonflower." Eager to discover the moonflower and make a wish, Elara and Toby set out on their journey. The path to Starry Lake was bathed in the soft, silver light of the grand moon and illuminated by the gentle glow of fireflies. As they arrived at Starry Lake, they were greeted by its magical beauty. The lake's surface sparkled like a blanket of stars, and the night air was filled with the soothing sounds of nature. However, the path to the moonflower was guarded by 3 enchanting challenges. The first challenge was the Misty Marsh. This was a foggy, enchanted marsh where the mist concealed hidden dangers. To navigate through, they needed to answer a riddle posed by the marsh's guardian, a wise old owl perched on a branch. I have keys but open no locks. I have space but no room. You can enter, but you can't go outside. What am I? Elara thought deeply and then answered, a keyboard. The owl hooted in approval, and the fog began to clear, revealing a safe path through the marsh. Next, they reached the Bridge of Stars, a delicate bridge made of shimmering stardust that spanned across a wide part of the lake. The bridge seemed to shift and change as they approached. To cross, they needed to arrange the stars in the correct order based on a constellation pattern. Toby's sharp eyes helped them identify the correct pattern, and Elara carefully arranged the stars. The bridge stabilized, glowing warmly as they crossed to the other side. Finally, they faced the Cave of Echoes. This cave was lined with sparkling crystals that reflected and echoed sounds. To find the way to the Moonflower, they needed to listen carefully and follow the echoes of a lullaby sung by the cave's guardian, a gentle spirit. Elara and Toby listened attentively to the soothing lullaby, using the echoes to guide them through the winding passages of the cave. After navigating the twists and turns, they emerged into a serene, moonlit chamber. At the center of the chamber, floating gracefully above the surface of a crystal-clear pool, was the Moonflower. Its petals glowed with a soft, silvery light, and its beauty was breathtaking. To make their wish, Elara needed to speak her wish aloud with sincerity. Elara approached the Moonflower and spoke from her heart, I wish for the well-being and happiness of everyone in Celestia. I want to see our kingdom flourish and live in harmony. As Elara's wish was spoken, the Moonflower's light expanded, and a gentle, magical glow spread throughout Starry Lake and beyond. The light of the grand moon seemed to shine even brighter, and the magic of the Moonflower touched every corner of Celestia, bringing joy and prosperity to all who lived there. When Elara and Toby returned to their village, they found it transformed. The fields were vibrant with crops, the animals were lively in content, and the people were filled with a profound sense of peace and happiness. The story of Elara and Toby's adventure in the magic of the Moonflower became a cherished tale in Celestia, reminding everyone of the power of kindness, courage, and the magic that can be found in their hearts. And so, Starry Lake remained a place of wonder and enchantment, where dreams and wishes came to life under the light of the grand moon. The end. Once upon a time, in a land where magic danced through the air, there was a hidden garden known only to the stars and the moon. This enchanted garden was said to bloom only under the light of the full moon, and its flowers were rumored to possess extraordinary powers. The garden lay deep within the Whispering Forest, a place where few dared to venture. In a small village on the edge of this forest lived a kind-hearted girl named Mia. Mia loved nature and often helped her neighbors with their gardens. Despite the village's charm, it faced a persistent drought that made it hard for crops to grow and for the villagers to thrive. Everyone was worried, but no solution seemed to work. One evening, as the full moon rose high in the sky, Mia sat outside, hoping for a miracle. Her grandmother, a wise old woman with a twinkle in her eye, had once told her stories about the moonlit garden. Mia decided that if anyone could find a way to help her village, it would be her. The journey begins with a determined heart. Mia packed a small bag with essentials, a warm cloak, some bread, and a flask of water. She also took along a locket given to her by her grandmother for luck. As the moonlight bathed the land in a silver glow, Mia ventured into the Whispering Forest. The forest was alive with the sounds of rustling leaves and whispering branches. As Mia walked, the forest seemed to guide her, leading her deeper into its heart. After some time, she arrived at a sparkling stream that she had never seen before. The water was crystal clear and shimmered with a soft light. An old owl perched on a nearby branch greeted Mia. "Welcome, young traveler," the owl said in a deep, soothing voice. "To find the moonlit garden, you must first answer a riddle. Only then will you find the path." The riddle. Mia nodded and listened carefully as the owl spoke. "I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I?" Mia thought for a moment and then answered confidently, "A joke." The owl hooted in approval. Well done. Follow the stream, and it will lead you to the entrance of the moonlit garden. The moonlit garden. Following the stream, Mia came upon a hidden gate covered in ivy and glowing softly in the moonlight. With a deep breath, she pushed open the gate and stepped into the moonlit garden. The garden was even more magical than she had imagined. Flowers of every color imaginable bloomed under the moon's light, their petals shimmering like stars. In the center of the garden stood a large, ancient tree with a trunk covered in golden leaves. As Mia approached the tree, she noticed a small, golden key hanging from one of its branches. Next to the tree was a beautiful fountain with a note that read, "To those who seek, a wish can be granted. But only if the heart is truly pure and selfless." The wish. Mia took the golden key and approached the fountain. She made a heartfelt wish, "I wish for my village to have enough water and for our crops to thrive." As she spoke her wish, the fountain's water began to sparkle more brightly. The golden key floated above the fountain and then gently landed back on its branch. A soft, warm light enveloped the garden, and Mia felt a sense of peace and fulfillment. The return home with her wish made, Mia turned to leave the moonlit garden. As she walked back through the whispering forest, she noticed that the forest seemed to hum with happiness, and the path appeared more vibrant. When Mia reached her village, she was greeted with astonishment. Rain had begun to fall, soaking the dry earth and filling the wells. The crops in the village gardens were already showing signs of new growth, and the villagers rejoiced at the sudden turn of events. Mia shared her story about the moonlit garden and the magical fountain with the villagers. They were amazed and grateful for the miraculous change. They celebrated with a grand feast, honoring Mia for her bravery and kindness. The legacy of the moonlit garden. The village thrived with the return of rain and abundant crops. Mia continued to care for her community, and the legend of the moonlit garden became a beloved tale passed down through generations. The garden itself remained a secret, known only to those with pure hearts and a selfless wish. As for Mia, she grew up to become a wise and compassionate leader, always guided by the magic she had witnessed in the moonlit garden. The village prospered, and the memory of the magical night lived on in the hearts of all who had witnessed the transformation. And so, the village flourished, and the moonlight continued to shine brightly over the land, a reminder of the magic that lies in kindness, hope, and the willingness to help others. The end. Once upon a time, in a realm where seasons changed like the pages of a book, there was a hidden kingdom known as Verdantia. Verdantia was unique because it experienced eternal spring. The land was always lush and blooming, with flowers of every color carpeting the ground and trees heavy with fruit. The kingdom's ruler, Queen Aloan, had a special gift. She could control the seasons, ensuring that Verdantia stayed in a perpetual state of spring. The kingdom thrived under Queen Aloan's care, and its people were content and happy. However, there was one thing Queen Aloan wished for more than anything else: to see the world beyond Verdantia. She had heard tales of lands where the seasons changed and was curious to experience them for herself. One day, as she gazed out over her flourishing kingdom, she noticed something unusual: a withered, leafless tree at the edge of the enchanted forest, which was known to be Eternal Spring's heart. It seemed out of place in the otherwise vibrant landscape. Intrigued, she decided to investigate. The heart of the enchanted forest, accompanied by her loyal advisor, Sir Cedric, Queen Aloan ventured into the enchanted forest. The deeper they went, the more the forest seemed to shift and change, its magic responding to their presence. They finally reached the withered tree, which stood alone in a small clearing. Its bark was cracked, and its branches were bare. As Queen Aloan approached, the tree began to speak in a faint, whispering voice. "I am the keeper of seasons," it said. "Long ago, I balanced the flow of time and seasons across the land. But now, I am weak and fading. The balance is disrupted, and without my strength, Verdantia's spring will eventually wither away." Queen Aloan listened carefully as the tree explained that it needed a special artifact, the Sunstone, to restore its power and balance the seasons once more. The Sunstone was said to be hidden in the Winterlands, a far-off land where snow and ice reigned. The journey to the Winterlands. Determined to save her kingdom, Queen Aloan set out on a journey to find the Sunstone. She and Sir Cedric traveled through mountains, across vast deserts, and finally reached the borders of the Winterlands. Here, the world was covered in snow and ice, a stark contrast to Verdantia's eternal spring. They ventured into the Winterlands and encountered many challenges: treacherous ice caves, blinding snowstorms, and the cold-hearted Frost King, who ruled the land. The Frost King was initially reluctant to help but was eventually moved by Queen Eloan's dedication to her people. The Frost King's test: to obtain the Sunstone, Queen Eloan had to pass the Frost King's test. He presented her with a series of trials designed to test her courage, wisdom, and kindness. Each trial was more difficult than the last, but with Sir Cedric's help and her own inner strength, Queen Eloan succeeded in every challenge. The final trial was to find a hidden crystal heart buried deep within a frozen lake. The heart was guarded by a fearsome ice dragon. Queen Eloan approached the dragon with respect and kindness, explaining her mission and her love for her kingdom. The ice dragon, moved by her sincerity, allowed her to retrieve the crystal heart. It was revealed that the heart was connected to the Sunstone, which the Frost King presented to her as a reward. Restoring the balance with the Sunstone in hand, Queen Eloan and Sir Cedric returned to Verdantia. They journeyed back through the enchanted forest and to the withered tree. As they placed the Sunstone at the base of the tree, its magic surged, and the once barren branches began to bloom with vibrant leaves and flowers. The enchanted forest was restored to its full glory, and the tree's strength was renewed. Queen Eloan realized that the balance of the seasons was important not only for the world but also for the growth and change that made life beautiful. A new understanding with the restoration of the tree's magic, Queen Eloan felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had gained a new appreciation for the changing seasons and the beauty they brought to the world. Although Verdantia remained in spring, she now understood the value of each season's unique gifts. The kingdom celebrated the return of balance and harmony, and Queen Eloan shared stories of her journey with her people. Verdantia flourished even more, and its people learned to appreciate the beauty of all seasons. Queen Eloan's adventure had taught her that true wisdom comes from understanding and embracing the world's diversity. And so, Verdantia thrived with a renewed sense of wonder and appreciation for the magic that bound their eternal spring to the changing world beyond. The end. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village nestled between rolling hills and a shimmering lake, there stood an ancient well at the heart of the village square. The well was known to the villagers as the Enchanted Well. It was said to possess magical powers that could grant one true wish to those who were pure of heart and faced great challenges. In this village lived a young girl named Isla. Isla was known for her generosity and bravery, always ready to help others in need. Her family was modest, but their hearts were full of love. Despite her joyful spirit, Isla had one deep wish: she wanted to help her village thrive and bring prosperity to everyone who lived there. One winter's day, the village was struck by a terrible frost that lasted longer than usual. The crops withered, and the once bustling market square fell silent. The villagers struggled to keep warm and find enough food. Seeing her neighbors in distress, Isla decided to seek out the Enchanted Well for help. One evening, under the light of the full moon, Isla made her way to the well. She took with her a single lantern and a small sack of bread, knowing that many in the village were hungry. As she approached the well, she saw that its surface was covered in frost, and the water inside was frozen. Isla spoke softly to the well, "Great Enchanted Well, I wish to bring prosperity back to our village and help those in need. Please, if you can grant one true wish, let it be for the good of everyone." The well remained silent, and Isla felt a pang of doubt. But just as she was about to leave, she heard a faint, melodious voice. The water in the well began to shimmer, and a gentle mist rose from its depths. "Isla, you have a noble heart," the voice said. "To bring prosperity to your village, you must first embark on a journey to find the 3 keys of harmony. Only then can the true magic of the Enchanted Well be revealed." With newfound determination, Isla set off on her quest. The first key was said to be hidden in the Whispering Forest, where the trees were known to speak in hushed tones. As Isla entered the forest, she listened carefully to the whispers of the trees, which guided her to a hidden glade. There, she found a golden key embedded in a bed of moss. the second key was rumored to be in the crystal caves, where the walls sparkled with the light of countless gems. To reach the key, Isla had to navigate through a maze of glittering passages. Her courage and patience led her to the heart of the cave, where she discovered a silver key resting atop a pedestal. For the final key, Isla needed to climb the towering peak, a high mountain that was often shrouded in mist. The ascent was challenging, and Isla faced strong winds and freezing temperatures. But with perseverance, she reached the summit and found the third key, made of shimmering stardust, hidden in a small, celestial alcove. Having collected all 3 keys, Isla returned to the enchanted well. As she approached, the well's water began to flow once more, and the air was filled with a soft, harmonious melody. Isla placed the 3 keys in a small, ornate box beside the well. The water in the well sparkled brightly, and a brilliant light erupted, enveloping the village in a warm, golden glow. The frost lifted, and the crops began to flourish once again. The villagers rejoiced as their market square came alive with the sights and sounds of prosperity. Isla's selflessness and bravery had restored the magic of the enchanted well, bringing hope and abundance back to her village. She was celebrated as a hero, not for her own gain, but for the love and care she had shown to her community. From that day on, the village thrived, and the enchanted well continued to stand as a symbol of the magic that can be achieved through compassion and perseverance. The story of Isla and the well was passed down through generations, a reminder of the power of selfless wishes and the wonders that can be achieved when hearts are filled with love and courage. And so, Isla's village remained a place of joy and prosperity, forever touched by the magic of the enchanted well. The end. Once upon a time, in a kingdom called Eldoria, there was a small village named Willowbrook. The village was named after a magnificent willow tree that stood at its center. This willow tree was no ordinary tree, it was the Whispering Willow, known for its ability to share wisdom and secrets with those who listened carefully. In Willowbrook lived a young girl named Elara. Elara was kind-hearted, adventurous, and always eager to learn new things. She loved spending time by the Whispering Willow, listening to its gentle murmurs and dreaming of far-off lands and exciting adventures. One day, as Elara sat under the tree, she heard a soft, urgent whisper. The willow told her of a hidden kingdom beyond the great mountains where a powerful enchantress had cast a spell, plunging the land into eternal darkness. The enchantress had stolen the Heart of Light, a magical gem that kept the kingdom bright and prosperous. Without it, the hidden kingdom was doomed. Determined to help, Elara set off on a quest to find the hidden kingdom and retrieve the Heart of Light. She packed some provisions, said goodbye to her family, and set out on her journey. As Elara traveled through dense forests and crossed swift rivers, she encountered a wise old fox named Finn. Finn had heard of Elara's quest and offered to accompany her. "The road ahead is fraught with dangers," he said, "but together, we can overcome them." Elara gratefully accepted Finn's help, and the two continued their journey. They traveled for days, facing many challenges along the way. They crossed the treacherous moonlit marsh, where they were guided by glowing fireflies, and climbed the towering crystal cliffs, where they met a kind-hearted eagle named Alicia, who gave them a ride across the chasm. One evening, as they camped under the stars, an old woman appeared before them. She was the enchantress of the enchanted forest, who had heard of their quest and wanted to help. She gave Elara a silver locket and said, "This locket holds a piece of the Heart of Light. It will guide you to the hidden kingdom and protect you from the enchantress's dark magic." With renewed hope, Elara, Finn, and Alicia continued their journey. The locket's light guided them through the darkest parts of the forest and over the highest mountains. Finally, they arrived at the hidden kingdom, shrouded in shadows and despair. The enchantress's castle stood tall and ominous in the distance. As they approached, the enchantress appeared before them, her eyes filled with malice. "You dare to challenge me?" she sneered. "You will never retrieve the Heart of Light." Elara stepped forward, holding the silver locket. "I believe in the power of light and love," she said boldly. "And I will not let you keep this kingdom in darkness." The enchantress laughed and summoned a storm of dark magic. But as the magic swirled around them, the locket glowed brighter and brighter. the light from the locket enveloped Elara, Finn, and Alicia, protecting them from the enchantress's spells. With a burst of courage, Elara held the locket high. Its light pierced through the darkness and shattered the enchantress's magic. The enchantress cried out in defeat and vanished into the shadows. Elara and her companions entered the castle and found the Heart of Light, hidden in a dark chamber. As Elara touched the gem, it began to glow, filling the room with radiant light. The kingdom was restored, and the people rejoiced as the darkness lifted. Elara, Finn, and Alicia returned to Willowbrook, heroes of their time. The Whispering Willow welcomed them back with joyful whispers, sharing their story with all who would listen. The village celebrated their bravery and the return of light to the hidden kingdom. And so, Elara's name became a legend in Eldoria, a tale of courage, friendship, and the power of light over darkness. The Whispering Willow continued to share its wisdom, and Elara lived a life full of adventures, always guided by the light within her heart. And they all lived happily ever after. I hope you enjoyed the tale. Once upon a time, in a land far beyond the mountains, there was a village nestled at the edge of a great and mysterious forest known as the Enchanted Grove. The villagers spoke in hushed tones about the magical creatures that roamed its depths and the ancient secrets hidden beneath its canopy. Among the villagers was a young girl named Elara, whose curiosity and bravery were well known. Unlike the other villagers who were content to live their lives near the forest's edge, Elara had always been fascinated by the stories of the Enchanted Grove. Her grandmother, who was the village storyteller, had filled her head with tales of magical beings and hidden treasures. One crisp autumn morning, as the leaves danced on the breeze and the sun peeked through the trees, Elara decided it was time to venture into the heart of the Enchanted Grove. She packed a small bag with essentials, some bread, cheese, a flask of water, and her grandmother's old compass, which had been in her family for generations. As Elara stepped into the forest, the air seemed to shimmer with enchantment. The trees were taller and grander than any she had ever seen, their leaves glowing with hues of gold and emerald. She followed a narrow path that wound deeper into the woods, guided by the compass that seemed to have a life of its own. After walking for a while, Elara came upon a glade bathed in a soft, golden light. In the center of the glade stood a majestic oak tree, its trunk wide and gnarled. At the base of the tree was a small door, intricately carved with symbols that seemed to pulse with a faint, magical glow. Elara hesitated for a moment but then mustered her courage and pushed the door open. To her amazement, it revealed a spiral staircase leading down into the earth. She descended slowly, her heart pounding with excitement. At the bottom of the stairs, Elara found herself in a large underground chamber filled with sparkling crystals and ancient artifacts. In the center of the chamber was a pedestal with a beautiful, ornate chest resting on top. The chest was covered in delicate engravings of mythical creatures and glowing with a soft, ethereal light. Elara approached the chest, her hands trembling with anticipation. She lifted the lid and found a collection of enchanted items, a shimmering cloak that changed colors with every movement, a silver flute that seemed to sing on its own, and a golden key that radiated warmth. As Elara examined the key, she noticed a small note hidden beneath it. The note read, "Asterisk, to the one who finds this treasure, a choice you must make. Use the gifts wisely, for they hold great power. One wish can be granted, but be true to your heart and the forest will guide you. Star." Elara pondered the note's message. She could use the key to unlock the chest's other secrets or make a wish. After much thought, she decided to use the wish to help her village, which had been suffering from a long drought. With a deep breath, Elara closed her eyes and made her wish, asterisk, "I wish for rain to fall upon my village and bring prosperity to our land. Star." As she spoke the words, the golden key began to glow brightly, and a gentle, warm breeze filled the chamber. Elara felt a sense of peace and fulfillment. She knew that her wish had been heard. Returning to the surface, Elara made her way back to the village. As she approached, she was greeted by the joyful sight of dark, rain-filled clouds gathering overhead. The first raindrops began to fall, and soon the village was blessed with a steady, nourishing downpour. The villagers rejoiced, and Elara was hailed as a hero. She shared her tale of the enchanted grove and the magical gifts she had found. The village thrived once more, and Alara's bravery and kindness were celebrated for years to come. And so, the enchanted grove remained a place of wonder and magic, and Alara's story became a cherished legend, reminding all who heard it that true magic comes from the heart and the courage to make a wish for the greater good. And they all lived happily ever after.